chair and join us in the alcove, here with episode 13 of our homebrewed 5th edition D&D campaign, The Chaoslands. We had some scheduling difficulties last week, but we're back this week, and we're ready to get back into it. So let's do a couple of quick announcements, and then we can continue on and start the show. We go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and our WODs are uploaded to YouTube every Friday. We also do reruns on our Twitch channel every Thursday morning and Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Give us a follow down below to get a notification whenever we're about to go live, and please do join us during those reruns. We're often in chat, we're hanging out, having a good old time, and it's a lot of fun. While you're checking out the links below to follow us, you can also follow us on all of our social media accounts, our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, for all of the latest news and schedule updates, as well as some awesome character art, some character profiles, and other fun things coming in the future. Also, even though we won't be using it remotely, I'll still give a quick shout out to Syrinscape, because epic games need epic sound. Syrinscape is a digital tool with a collection of amazing sound sets and music that we use to improve the ambiance of our game and stream. If you're looking for a way to improve the immersion at your RPG table, go check them out at Syrinscape.com.
Oh, slackers.
Crap.
Wow.
Okay, those are all the announcements I've got, so unless there's anything else, we can continue on to the Chaoslands.
Oh, it's not working. Yeah, there we go.
Our adventurers, the Iron Will, after spending a quiet night resting apart from each other, summoned Ward 1 and summoned Ward 2 of Schema. Timon and the Big One, waking up to find a note from Astra indicating that you should meet up with the rest of your friends at Clanko's curated collection of curiosities and contraption, a shop of enchanted goods and magical items located within Ward 1. Got out after a relatively relaxing morning, breakfast, and shooting, and conversations, and stuff. Fairly low-key. But as the rest of the party made their way back from their night of investigation in Ward 2, you two made your way to the shop. But halfway through, noticed a disturbance of sorts at the old iron salvage yard, followed by a loud explosion that left the office and the majority of the facility in cinders and a pile of rubble. As you were the first at the scene, you proceeded to investigate and did not find anyone else. But you did find the cause of the explosion. An alchemical magitech device, not dissimilar from the charge used against you in a prior encounter with the Silent Razors. Slipping away from the scene before the Iron Cog arrived, a little bit singed from the fire and explosion, you left and met Arkmir, Astra, and Kalthir in front of Clanko's, a strange and confusing shop run by a mechanical humanoid arcanist named Clanko and his trio of customer service bots, looking to spend some of your hard-earned gold on magical items to make your lives and adventures easier. That's where we pick up today's session, coming to terms on some of the deals, the wheeling and dealing happening within the shop, and the many magical items found within.
I want to know what I can get with my hard-on gold. That's what I want to know.
Did I say hard on? I meant hard earned.
Hard-on
Close
gold.
enough. Your hard-earned gold. So, who's buying? What are you buying?
I've already
What's
bought.
happening?
Big one's just in the corner, like holding his gifts, like ready
The big
to
one's
go.
is standing in a corner. You're holding your 3 bags of assorted sizes.
4 bags.
4 bags of assorted sizes.
I have it all written down. Yep. It was the coat, the trinket, the magic ink, and 2 of the sending cards, all individually
Yes, the
gift
2
wrapped.
sending cards. Yes, that's what I, for some reason, forgot to write down.
And then there's the bag of holding that we need to.
There are a few things that are still available at the shop that you were discussing purchasing. So, Timon and Astra and Arkmir, I believe, were the 3 who were kind of trying to figure out what to purchase and what not to purchase. Galtier is off on his own. You're kind of walking past one of the Seabot 1000 coffee bar in the corner. Just browsing, just taking a look at the different things around.
Remind me again, DM. We were bartering about the bag of holding. What was the price that we had gotten to again?
I believe the price of the container of countless collateral was 500 gold pieces.
I think it was 250. That's what I remember.
Yeah, we had brought that price down a bit.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we had. You
I
wanted
do
to put
not think
logos
so.
and shit on it.
Right. There was an agreement, but it was still only 350, I think.
That's different from 500.
I don't remember. Sorry, it's been 2 weeks. I can go back and check. But
It's all good.
350.
I believe the agreement was 350, but only if you agreed to put those like shining,
Letters.
glittering logo on it. And I believe so. The reason that I didn't write it down was that you said that those logos were a no go for you guys. So then it's 500.
No, but then we talked about it. Come on, like I did the whole speech to bring that price down, and then you said that without the logos it was 400, I think.
I don't believe you, but let's roll a persuasion check and we'll find out.
Persuade the
A
DM.
real life
The
pursuit.
Not
lo-
Clanko.
Real
Not
life
Clanko. You have to
persuade the
persuade or
DM.
pay.
the logo is a no-go. Let's go.
That's a pretty good logo.
Or ass- assisted by Astra, of course,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go with that.
I love how you're gonna do
Yeah,
this and we still can't afford it. That's my favorite part about all this.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Okay, so I rolled a natural 19
Ooh.
Okay. We'll go with 400.
plus
Sure.
120. Okay. All right. Hey Astra.
Yeah.
Come here if you don't mind.
What's up?
Um, how much coin have you got?
Like everything?
I
You? Me.
got 175,
I.
but I wanted some bullets.
Mm. So I have a total of 184. Not to try to put down your 175. 175 is very impressive. But maybe we can do a little like, we can pool our money. Maybe Arkmir wants to get in on this. Kalthir? I feel like Big One spent a lot of money. I saw him over at the cash
think-
already.
I think Big One has spent a lot of his coin already. Look at him. It looks like a little
know.
kid.
He looks really proud of himself holding all his shopping bags.
He's pretty happy.
I have no idea what he bought, but seems
He
pretty
bought
proud of himself.
2,000
You
wheels
know
over
exactly
to you.
what he bought.
Big ones. He bought 2,000 wheels over to you and like holds up his hands, offers to hold some for you.
No, that is okay. I'm okay. Thank you. You've been a big help already.
He wheels away. Clanko at this point is just kind of lounging behind the counter on a fairly low chair. He's just sipping from his coffee. He's almost done.
Arkmir.
Arkmir, stop looking at those pretty clothes and come here.
He's been there the whole time,
I know, right?
staring at the cloaks. Him in coats, I swear. It's
I
weird.
know.
Hey, Arkmir,
Yes.
you're gonna want to get in on this bag.
So let
I
me
don't
also
think that we-
describe this container to you. You keep calling it a bag. It's more like a lunchbox. Let's be honest here for a moment. I said it was a lunchbox prior. You keep calling it a bag. It's made of metal. It's metal with electrosteel. It's not flexible like a bag. It's not what you are imagining it to be. It is a container of what was that? Container of countless collateral, not a bag of holding.
Is this Rafay
Okay.
talking to us, or is this Clanko talking?
It
out
looks
this-
not like that.
Check out this bag.
It's a small, about roughly, you would say, 1.5 feet by
Check out this bag.
half a foot. Kind of
No.
like that, but deeper. It's deeper. It's definitely deeper.
The way I see it's like how many of you guys have watched like Saint Seiya when you were a kid? Like the Knights of the Zodiac carrying that huge metal box in the back.
Nope.
No, it's
Kinda
not
like
that big
that.
either. It's about like 1.5 feet long, like this wide. It's like a shoebox. It's almost like a shoebox, or like a lunchbox, basically. Like 1.5 feet wide, a foot deep, a foot tall, like, or not a foot, half a foot deep, half a foot tall, a foot wide. Rectangle.
do you guys think? Should we get this bag?
No.
I don't know.
Arc-
It's pretty pricey.
Arkmir, do you want to chip in and help us get that thing?
I'm fine, thank you. And Arkmer just kind of walks off towards Big One here. Hangs out beside him.
I think he's got his eyes on some coats.
What the hell does he mean he's fine?
I don't know. I guess maybe we should come back and get it another time. Do you think?
Aye.
I guess we don't really have that much stuff. Like I have my backpack. You can put your potatoes in there when we need to.
I have 4 maces on my backpack right now. They weigh quite a bit. That's all right. I guess I'll have to manage it. Okay, never mind then, lass. Hey, Glanko.
Yes.
Those bullets that you mentioned, how much they cost?
I believe the cost that I had come to was 200 gold pieces.
Yep.
200 for 40. That's what I've
What
written
side
down.
are you on?
On the not
Huh?
trying to spend a lot of money at our first shopping trip of the campaign at really shady shit at a store where this guy sees really shady side.
I was saying that as a player, not as a character.
How much can how many can 150 get me?
30.
Oh, come on, you can do a little bit better than that.
I can't really. I accepted these charges in exchange, you would say, for a prior transaction. That is the value after some steep haggling that we had come to on that agreement. I can't see myself selling it for cheaper.
What if you brand the bullets?
Bright pink bullets.
Can't really do that either. And he reaches down again and pulls out like a small pouch, roughly about like yay big. The bag itself is fairly nondescript. It's made of almost like a black leather, like a drawstring at the top. He like pulls it open and pulls out one of the bullets from inside. It looks like a small, almost like blue and black metal bullet with like a white marble tip. Like no real room for branding on these. Like puts it down.
That
Plus,
bag looks like it can be branded though.
Too easy to change from one container to another. Can't say so. It like lines up a couple. 150. For 30.
All right, you drive a hard bargain. Here you go.
Like counts out 10 from the bag, like ties up the drawstring, hands it to you, and like holds his arm out for the 150 gold.
All right. I give him the 150 gold and I count how many bullets are in the bag.
6.
Hold on. 1 second. 1 second.
Are these just
Where's
plus
my
150?
D10s?
Are these just plus 1 to damage?
And
Plus
hit.
1 to hit and
hit.
I just if only you knew artificers as your character art. Like I could just do that for you for free, but you don't know that yet.
I don't know that.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm like, damn it! If only we were like a level higher.
Just gonna turn out these are blanks.
Yeah, probably. They just implode your gun when you use them.
There's 28 bullets in there as you start to count them.
Oh shit.
Hey, you hunk of metal. Are you shortchanging me? What is this? There's 28 bullets in here.
He like looks at them. Ah, he like counts the ones in the bag. Guess I only had 38 of them. He like pulls out another two and puts them down. Apologies for that.
What else don't I know? Now you look at me.
Probably a lot of things, to be honest.
I
Can't
drive a
say for
hard
sure.
bargain, but I'm fair. And if any of these are not what you're telling me for any reason, I will come back here and we will have a word.
Make an intimidation check.
11?
I can see where you are coming from. It was an honest mistake, and I certainly don't think you want to try that. As he says that, like, Seabot 1000 kind of like stands up tall, looming above you almost twice your height.
Oh, mister. Let's just hope that this was indeed an honest mistake.
As I said, I acquired these from someone else who it seems has shortchanged me. They are not one of my creations. I can tell you that much. That much is true. That is why they are not branded. They are simply bullets, and not. He goes off in a deep sense of thought.
It's funny because you called this Klankos Conjured Chambers just a few minutes ago, so they seem to have your name on them.
I acquired these in a trade, as I think I've said before.
Insight check this motherfucker.
Sure, make an insight check.
Natural one.
Nice.
Fitting.
You're sure that he's lying. There's no. He must have made these and is now trying to, like, hoodwink you. You're absolutely positive that he's being a smarmy little bitch.
I just grabbed the chew from the counter that he put in that was left, dumped him on the back, and turn away. I walk off.
Astra, Arkmir, are you both also done?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. I think Big One took all our stuff.
He robbed the shop.
I know. I don't know if he's planning to keep the amulet for himself. I kind of like Hoku really had his heart set on it. I don't know.
Planko at that point kind of turns towards you all. Well, if that's everything, I certainly look forward to seeing you again, and at a later time at your convenience. Please do come again. Like, gives a big thumbs up, and all of a sudden, all of the lights and the glows from all of the shop like completely go out. It's just a normal looking shop again.
Nice.
He just like turns around and walks back. He's just clank, 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 walking back towards the back door and going through. Feebot 2000 kind of comes around and goes to get the door for you all.
Oh, thank you, Seabot.
Simon's already outside.
Feebot holds the door open, and you all step outside with your new acquisitions and purchases.
Did you guys see that? Did you hear him? I don't trust that guy at all. I'm pretty sure that he was shortening me on purpose there.
Oh.
Do not believe him.
Maybe he's just really bad at counting.
I don't think you can get any shorter.
Oh, that was a good one, Arthur. That was a joke, Diamond.
Bad timing, Arkmir.
Well, before we go, I got all of you a little gift. It's from my father and I, just to potentially help us, on our travels. We don't really know what kind of mess we might get into. It has already been a couple of interesting days, but, just a little something from my father and I. Arkmir, and I hand him a little bag, and it says Arkmir on it. Then I hand Asher one, then Calthier and Timon as well, all little bags, and I'm just like, please, feel free to open them now, or no, please open them now.
But we didn't even get you anything.
Oh, that is, I have plenty. I have everything I need in my bag. I have the little one with me. Please open them.
Astra digs into hers really quickly first.
Yeah, so you pull out the trinket that you probably A, knew, and B, picked out, and C, watched me pay for.
What?
I'm like, oh,
What?
I figured you and Hoku might like that.
How did you know?
Oh,
It looks very
Wow.
similar. It's sort of like a round circular. It's not made of electrosteel, which is strange for anything in this town, essentially. It's made of almost gold, you would think. It's got a bunch of like cogs inside of it. They're making a continuous ticking noise. Tick, 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 tick. You can't even make out like all the different gears and cogs that are placed inside of it. It's kind of hard to see them all, but it's just constantly ticking.
Thanks, big one. I go and I give him a hug.
oh, it's no problem at all. Who's next?
By all means, Arkmir, open yours.
Yeah, Arkmir opens it up. Just
So yeah, you see that coat that you were looking at. I didn't write down what it did.
It's the Klankos Chimeric Cape.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Cape.
Yeah,
The changing.
the cloak of changing. Yeah. Arkmir, Clanko said this. I saw you looking at it, and he mentioned that this was kind of an interesting cloak that might help you in certain situations, and it looked about your size, so I figured you might be able to put it to good use. And you seem to, as Asher has pointed out, seem to like your coats and capes and things, so...
Arkmir's ready, like, kind of just putting it on. And,
You see my trunk come up and like, dude, this on your shoulder. It looks great.
look up the big one, and, there's like...
It is purple. It's got like a white mantle with like gold, almost like shoulder embroidery on it.
Nice.
For now.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I guess maybe you'll just notice it as like, because I'm staring direct eye contact with you here, but there's a little bit of like watery eyes in Arkmir, and just then like, thank you, big one.
All right, Timon, Calthier.
Diamond,
Sure.
after you.
I'll... Not before I give a slap to Arkmir back and say, "You wuss." And then I open my bag.
Yeah.
What is it?
Now I wanted to get you the bullets, but they were a little bit out of my price range. But I noticed when we woke up this morning, there was one of those cards, and Astra told us what she had used. So there's actually, that might come in handy if you know, when we're looking for Anya and we need to communicate, might be a good thing to have. So you get handed or you open up the two. I don't know exactly what the
Cards of
I know.
sending or something?
Yeah, I know. Friggin' Clanko
No.
called it the
Clanko's
curious cards of
cards.
conversing cards, but
Like those conversing cards.
Conversing cards.
what they might come in handy.
Oh, this is great, big one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now use them wisely. I do believe they are a one-time use type thing, but you never know when we might need to communicate long distance.
Oh, all right. Uh, how do I use them?
Test it out. I'll go over
yeah,
here. You write
Astra,
me a note.
no, please don't do that. Astra can at least show you what to do, and then you can use it at a later time.
I'll teach you.
Oh, all
It's easy.
right. Thank you, big lad. This
Oh.
is very kind of you.
No worries. And Kalthir, please.
And yeah, you
I
just
open up the bag.
yours is like a big bag, and you just pull out
Oh.
a tiny little vial of the.
I
There's
noticed.
actually 2 vials. There's one that's black and one that's clear.
one of what's a set?
And-
Yeah.
Well, I noticed. I didn't really know what you and Arkmir were whispering about, but I noticed a few times you've had this liquid, and my father said it's pretty important stuff. So I figured, perhaps you like writing things. Perhaps somewhere down the line it might be of use.
What
Thank
was
you.
it called again?
The concealer and revealer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably Clanko's concealer and revealer.
Oh, I have Clanko's concealing ink.
Yeah.
And then
I guess
think
yeah.
he called it
Revealer doesn't start with a
before.
C, so.
Revealer.
Once you have had a chance to identify your magic items, you will
Yeah,
know their
yeah.
full names.
Sure.
So,
So again, this was a little gift on behalf of my father and I, and I feel like rather than just selfishly spending on something that I don't really need, we can use this on our adventures.
Derek, check your messenger.
Okay.
there's a dragon inside of it.
Yeah.
I hope these are to your satisfactions. I know we've only known each other for less than a week now, but I feel like these items might be able to help you individually or as a group.
Sorry, one moment. Does it not look emptier out here? I see a lot less people right now.
Oh, now that you mention it, how long were we in there?
Rafay, do I know the direction? Can I tell?
It's coming from your northeast, roughly. It's far away.
Okay.
It's coming from.
Dragons.
I don't know if any of you can hear that, but there's some sort of loud sound off in the distance. Some sort of thumping.
A soiree.
Make all of the rest of you make perception checks.
Oh, no.
Right. Wisdom, good old wisdom.
Perception. Is it with smell?
Definitely not with smell.
Can you smell the sound over there?
18.
17.
5.
22.
I'm too
So
preoccupied with
all
your
of you
gifts.
except for the big one,
Oh.
you can now hear off in the distance a like thumping noise, almost like loud rhythmic thumping noise.
Have we
And
heard?
you do
that?
notice that the streets are relatively quiet. There's less, just in general, probably the least people you've ever seen in the ward around. Almost nobody on the street right in front of you where you're on. And this is one of the major streets of the ward.
What time of day is it right now? Is it like
Around afternoon, like 1 p.m. ish, maybe even earlier than that.
Simon looks around at the houses around. Is there anybody like watching from the windows or concealed or anything like that?
This street mostly has shops on it, but you can make a perception check.
I just did for 22.
That was just to see if you could hear the noise
Oh,
specifically.
okay. Another one. No, that's a 5.
Yeah, you look around and it really isn't any. You don't notice anybody, and there aren't really that many houses that you can maybe even like see the windows of, because like all the houses, even the houses that are in this district, are usually farther away from the road.
Is there
a
any
little bit
iron
more
cog
infiltrated.
around?
No, the street is empty right now, at least.
So
Can I
Ca-
send
there's
Hoku up
no one.
and see
Okay.
if he can see anything?
You want to send Hoku up?
Yeah.
Also, if Kalthir mentioned this out loud, just being in the city and kind of being aware of what it could be, does it ring any bells when he describes it as like a thumping or?
Make a history check.
That's probably the same thing. Oh no, it's int. All right.
That's festival.
19.
You do know that there are generally large constructs that are kind of sort of peacekeeping constructs of the Iron Cog. More so of the artifice variety. Even though the Iron Cog has very poor equipment in terms of weapon and armor, they have a ton of constructs and defensive measures in general.
Okay.
Might be one of those. Might be something else really big and clangy.
And if I do know about those constructs, do I know if they're like get the fuck out of the street or if they are still a peaceful type thing?
You've never seen them
Okay.
used.
Okay.
There has been no need for them to be used.
Okay.
But you do know that you've heard stories that they exist.
What ward is northeast of us? I forget which one is. Is it like 2 and 4?
It's Ward
Above us?
6.
Oh, 6.
Ward 6 is northeast of you. But as you're paying attention to this, the noise is more so like moving towards your north from your northeast, and then you
Oh,
can see
okay.
it, or you can hear it like changing, like moving along.
North of us?
Is it going
Yeah.
towards the house? The explosion?
You would put 2 and 2 together. Seems to be going in that direction. If you heard it, but you don't. Kaltir did, but Kaltir would
Oh,
put 2 and
fair,
2
yeah.
together.
Heading
What?
towards which house?
The house that exploded this morning.
Phaedos.
Oh,
or
the-
not house, sorry, the
the
iron
scrap yard or
storage, yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
What
Oh,
is this noise?
I don't think your gift makes a noise per se. It relays a message and
No, big one. No,
Oh.
the noise that Kaltir was talking about. Don't you hear
Oh.
it? It's like big thumps heading this way.
What did earlier this morning you mentioned that there was a fire somewhere?
Aye,
Is
there
that
was trouble at Phaedos. Phaedos, his shed went up in flames.
when
Yeah.
you left that place? What was the state of things? Was it still on fire? No one was there.
Aye, and I
Well,
think
we-
the Iron Cog were making the way.
yeah, we decided to leave instead of getting ourselves in trouble for something we didn't do as the iron cog was approaching.
Perhaps that's them trying to handle the situation.
I don't see anybody in the streets. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, exposed.
Perhaps we can find an iron cog guard somewhere and speak to them about what's going on. Should we head towards your father's place, or should we head towards the sound?
I send Hoku up. Hoku, go have a look. What's going on?
So Hoku flies up.
I can
just
see through
flying
his
around.
eyes too.
Do you want to look through his eyes?
It says I can
You
do
would
it. As
you would lose your
practice.
senses in your human body while you're doing that.
That's fine.
So all of a sudden, what does it look like as you're
Astra just
looking through
falls
his
over.
Give Astra a wet willy.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Like, what does Astra look like as she?
Oh, I thought you were like,
can't
what
see
do you
anymore.
see? Like, I don't know. I'd say her head kind of falls and her eyes roll back into her head, so you just see the whites of her eyes, and then she'll do like little like twitches, and it's kind of creepy. But you can tell like she's super out of it.
As you start to look through Hoku's eyes and you're soaring up, you see the city below you. You see Ward 1. You see just in general a lot of buildings. Streets are mostly empty. You do see a lot of movement heading towards the northwest corner of the ward. You see smoke rising from the northwest corner of the ward. Seems to be more like the remnants of smoke, almost like a smoke cloud. And in a street almost parallel to yours, you see a giant construct made of electrosteel and iron and all sorts of different metal, about 10 to 15 feet tall, with like a domed head, almost 2 large arms just clanging forward. along the street.
That's what the thumping is?
You can make that out, yeah. As you look around, you notice a few others of those deployed around the ward. There's probably 3 or 4 of them, as well as 2
Damn.
near the conduit, like the Prime Spire itself. As you circle around the Prime Spire building, you notice at all of the 3 exits from the large conduit spire, there's a construct posted, as well as probably half a dozen armed guards at each. There are guards patrolling the street. You just don't see that many of them around where you are. But there are definitely a heightened presence of Iron Cog in Ward 1 right now. You do notice people. Also, in general, like around, there's less of them. You notice that some people are going into taverns, fly by almost like a large temple that you haven't been past yet. There's a large temple with like a cog-shaped gear. It looks like people are congregating there. There's a bunch of people congregating. Maybe there's a restaurant that seems fairly packed still. It's not like the district itself is like in curfew or anything. It just seems like there's less people around.
When I look at the constructs, do they seem like, can I get a sense if they're friendly, if they are part of the Iron Cog, if they're
You can
searching
make
for
out the
something?
ones that are standing around the spire. You can make out that they are defending the spire from external places.
Oh, okay.
They're like standing guard around the spire.
Okay.
Also, make a perception check with Hoku stats.
So for that, I just use like pseudo dragon stats, right?
Yes.
Perception is +3. 19.
Oh, Hoku.
You notice that each of the sort of like constructs that are being moved around, they are being piloted. There are people inside almost cockpits of sorts that are piloting them.
Cool.
But there are probably a half dozen of them scattered around the ward.
Okay.
While Astra is in knocked out, looking through eyes mode. What are the rest of y'all doing?
Astra, hello, hello. What are you doing? Well, she's out of it.
Oh, should I carry her? To answer your question, I don't know if we should go to my father's. That's kind of in the same direction as Fado's. Perhaps we ask a guard or proceed to check in with Harriet's contact. I don't really know.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I don't know this Fado individual. I believe he may have been a friend of your father's. I don't know if this is something that you wanted to look more into, or if we should just carry on.
Well, Timon and I did have a look, and thankfully it didn't appear as if Fado or anyone else was there. The last that Arkmir and I saw him, he was safe, or what appeared to be safe. I'm not really sure where we could find him, to be honest. I'm not sure. At this point, I don't think any of us are immediately tied to that, other than we helped Fado, but I'm not too sure. We don't know about the note yet, right? That had our names and Fado's. Have you shared that with us yet? No. Okay, so yeah.
Like it's just.
Arkmir does.
knows.
I know, and yeah, I think. Wait, Calthier, did you?
I know as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. So that's I don't
Like the
think we're
names.
in any immediate danger. I'm not sure we want to get ourselves too close to get maybe a little bit of questioning or suspicion on our part, but I'm not really sure. It seems like whatever that was intended to hurt Fado, but I don't know where he is or where we could contact him.
You know you think that this was intentional, not an accident?
I didn't look at the device specifically or wanted to get anywhere too close to it, but it appears like it was an attack more than an accident.
You mentioned a device. Is that?
Yes, it was a very dangerous device. I'm not too. I haven't really encountered it before,
Which is a lie.
but I could tell very briefly that it was something that I believe is part of the alchemist world. Some sort of container or flask or something designed to cause an explosion similar to what we saw. I don't entirely know how they work, but I believe, Timon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's similar to what we saw.
Very different kind of metal. I would always remember that kind of bluish tint to it. Not quite. Oh my god.
Arkmir, you look so different.
I would Kaltir. I'm sure it was a contraption of the same making as what was used back in that warehouse.
You keep saying that, but
Don't worry
Oh.
about it, Big Lad. Don't worry about it.
okay.
Astra, it's at this point that you kind of come back to your body and Hoku begins to make his way back down to you.
Holy bananas, you guys. I just saw what Hoku was seeing. That's probably why I looked all creepy, I'm assuming. There
You
are
looked
iron
creepy as
cogs.
fuck.
Thank you.
You were twitchy and
Blah, 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 blah. There's iron cog everywhere. There's constructs. They're giant. They have these domes. It's like a cockpit. Maybe they shoot people. I don't know. I couldn't tell, but
Oh,
holy cow. They looked like they were guarding some sort of temple. There's way less people. There's usually so many people out in the streets, but there's less. Some people are like, meh, everything seems normal. But then where's everybody else? I don't know.
I've never actually seen them myself, but based on what you sort of just described, I do know when accidents or events happen in the city, they do have these constructs that they use to defend, but if this was an attack, or perhaps they're suspicious that there might be more, they're probably on pretty high guard right now.
That's got to be what I saw. That has to be it, 100%.
Perhaps we shouldn't just be in the middle of the street by ourselves.
Where do we go?
Well, I think we can still make our way. I mean, we were invited to go speak to Mrs. Miss Halfstep's
assistant. I
assistant.
guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that in the? Where are we supposed to meet them?
It was.
The headquarters of the chief engineer are located above the Prime Spire in the middle of Ward 1.
So right where they're guarding.
But we do have an appointment. Should we go and let them know, or should we try and avoid it now that it's being guarded?
Here's the thing, and then like guys like gather, and I say really quietly, like didn't you say that Big One, you and Timon, that you guys were really close to the scene? What if somebody saw you? What if you're suspects? What if we're accomplices?
Oh,
What if they're looking for us right now?
I'll just tell
Are we
them
in
that I
trouble?
didn't do it. I didn't do it.
We really
they-
didn't do it.
I mean, I know that. You guys know that. Kalthir knows that. Arkmir, I don't know. But I'm just kidding. But are we gonna get in trouble?
Arkmir's frozen in thought again.
I thought
Oh my goodness, again.
If we don't think it's safe to go to the Prime Spire, perhaps we shouldn't. I just don't know. I don't know where we'd go and then.
But
You
we
look
were
down the
invited
street, you
there.
do see a couple of people walking up the street. They're not guards. They seem to be dressed in fairly normal, like leather clothes. Seem to have turned a corner and are walking up the street in your general direction. Both like middle-aged men with like wearing relatively nondescript common clothes. They're looking around. They notice you standing in the middle of the street and kind of eye you for a bit and then keep walking.
You mentioned also that perhaps if somebody saw them, that could be a cause for concern. Do people just make bold assumptions and hold people accountable based on that? I'm not sure why they should be concerned in this situation.
Oh my god, it happens all the time, I assume. Probably. I don't know. If you saw somebody fleeing from a scene and then everything exploded and smoke in the air, you would put two and two together and think maybe that was the person that did it. Why else would they run?
Well,
Perhaps, but it sounded like the explosion happened while they were looking at, like, as soon as they walked to the place, not as they were fleeing.
I'm not accusing them. I know they didn't do it. I'm 98% sure they didn't do it. I'm just saying that
we also didn't run or we just
No, we just left.
The two people who were walking down the street and have now walked past you, and you see them turning to the right and going into what seems like a small, like restaurant, tavern type situation. Just down the street.
What time of the day is it roughly? Do we know?
Around 1-ish
1
p.m., like afternoon. There's a
Excuse me,
sign hanging above the like building that they're going into that just says the drinkerer.
Sirs. Excuse me, pardon me.
They like look around to you. Yes?
Uh, out of curiosity, I'm not from here, but why is the street so empty?
They put out something about an attack. I don't know. I'm just gonna live my life. I don't care about any sort of, danger to the ward. They're just trying to control us, man. And they just like takes a step inside.
Are they wearing Freedom Convoy
Yeah,
banners and
right.
flags?
Yeah.
anti-vax badges.
Oh my god. Worst kind of people. Time and turns.
They both kind of make their way inside and into this tavern that's just like a little ways down the street from you. But it does seem like even Clanko's shop is open. Like the businesses all seem to be open. There's just nobody around. The streets are on like relatively locked down.
Well, the way I see it, Miss Halfstep invited us. She wanted us to get that contract or whatever it was that her assistant was going to draw up. I don't see why we couldn't go to find them.
yeah, I mean, we like you said, we were invited by Miss Halfstep herself, and I mean, even if we get questioned or held up, we didn't do anything wrong, and we're just there on business, I suppose.
All we got to do is act nonchalant.
Well, I'm very good at that.
Mhm.
I have no problem going over there. It's more so if you feel concerned yourself and Diamond. Uh, but otherwise, we might as well head over there.
I don't really have any reason to feel scared or not go.
Yeah, lad. I am also not scared. I am a law-abiding citizen.
Arkmir, you might want to hide all your daggers and swords and things, but all right,
Then perhaps we should get heading.
all right.
You start making your way down the main street, heading in the direction of the incredibly tall spire. that
I'll
you
just
can see
turn
from here.
to Asher. I think that's the first time Timon's seen a place called Drinkerer or beer and refused it.
Yeah. Is he feeling okay? Should we be worried?
He might actually be scared after all.
Maybe. But you know what really helps with that? It's beer.
Oh, I was going
Maybe
to
we
say
can sneak
apples,
some.
but I'm going to pull out an apple and eat it.
Once you
In the
ferment
back
them.
of his In the back of his mind, Tywin is going, "Oh my god, I'm so thirsty."
You
As we
start
begin
making
heading to, like as we're walking, at some point, I would have pulled Arkmir to the kind of like to the side. Um, but if there's other stuff that you want to describe before I do that, go ahead.
no. There's the. I was just gonna say that the streets are relatively empty, though you do see crossing your path almost as you're walking past, like a handful of patrols of Iron Cog and guards heading in like opposite directions, and keeping a general eye out for anything strange happening on the streets.
Then to Arkmir in just like a hushed tone, so that's pretty much just to him. I hadn't thought too much about it until the others had mentioned the attack on Fado's dead, but his name was on that list, um, the list that we kept from that individual who attacked us in the other ward. I'm wondering if perhaps it might make sense at some point to bring that up with the others, and I'm not sure. Perhaps if people feel like we should do something about Fado and the others on that list.
I think it will. What I'll say is Fado was already under attack, or people were already after him before we found this note. And Big One is aware of that. At least when we found him, we managed to keep him safe at that time. I don't think anything changes there, but you're right. We can definitely share this at some point.
It appears that Fado has a watchful eye on him. Perhaps those who attacked him in the first place are those who put his name on this list.
It's
Okay.
likely. Yeah.
Well, it's something to consider, given the circumstances.
As
Right.
you approach the northeast entrance of the Prime Spire, it's hard to miss from a distance both the spire and the giant 10.5 foot tall construct that stands in front of the gate, flanked by about half a dozen guards of the Iron Cog with various different weapons. You notice a couple of them holding swords and shields of relatively poor construction, but you also notice a handful wearing almost a completely different attire, a completely different armor. This is more electrosteel based. You can make out from a distance, it glints in the light. It's very pristine, very well kept. You notice that they've got these giant, almost gloves, these gauntlets, so to speak, on their arms. They've got like all sorts of strange things sticking out of their back as potentially different weapons. They're wearing goggles, and they're very well armed, almost to the teeth. Um, Probably two of them are dressed like that, while the other four are normal Iron Cog. And they're flanking; those two are almost flanking the large construct standing in the middle of the road.
Did they carry the Iron Cog brand or logo on their equipment anywhere?
Make a perception check.
I'll look as well around that because I'm just kind of like scanning them up and down.
Just saying nice, smooth electrosteel.
That
Oh,
was
natural
17.
20.
Never mind.
26.
He sees everything.
Definitely
stood up.
emblazoned right on their chest, like where their sternum is a giant cog of iron. And it's probably the only piece of actual iron in their armor.
Oh, it's actual
Oh,
iron?
it's real iron.
That's actually sick.
Nice.
While the rest of their armor is all layers of electrosteel plates.
We can
glinting.
smelt them for what we need.
Anything else kind of maybe unique or that stands out among that, since I basically can see through them at this point?
They're much well armed. They're much better armed. They keep their eyes trained on you as you're approaching. They're basically the elite guard
Okay.
in some ways that you can make out. Their weapons seem unconventional. They don't seem to have any swords. They don't seem to have any hammers, no weapons that you can see, but you can make out almost like energy seems to be pulsing either both into their gauntlets and just around them. There's just like an innate glow almost of faint bluish energy.
That's sick.
They are constantly armed and armored, and they're
Nice.
staring at you down as you approach. As all of you approach roughly about 120 feet away, the large construct, almost like there's like a speaker that goes off and a voice emits from it. Halt! What is your purpose in approaching the Spire? The ward is in lockdown.
Oh, I'll take it just a small step forward. I don't mean to be of trouble, but we've actually been requested by Miss Harriet Halfstep to meet her assistant here to pick up and gather some information for something.
The construct doesn't move, but there's a little bit moment of silence. One of the well-armored electrosteel figures on the ground, who is about the same height as Arkmir, kind of looks at you and says, "Your names?"
Oh, we actually go by the Iron Will, but my name is the big one, and this is the little one, and that is Astra and her little friend Hoku, and that is Tymond, Kalthir, and Arkmir.
Right. The Iron Will. Got it. He turns around,
Oh,
and you notice a few things on his back. First off, he definitely has a rifle similar in design to Tymond's, but a lot more sleek and modern in many ways, made entirely of electrosteel.
Shit.
And the other thing you notice is almost immediately as he turns around looking up the stairs to the Spire, a flare almost emits from behind him as his jetpack flares up.
What?
And he flies up roughly about
These guys are Mandalorians.
roughly about
Yeah.
100 or so feet up the stairs into the Spire.
Is Electrosteel
Oh, wow.
Beskar?
Yeah.
You're all kind of shocked and amazed at
Oh.
the relative military might of the artificers when they choose to exercise it.
Big one.
Oh, yes.
Did you see he was carrying a weapon like mine?
I did. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I could ask him if he has an extra one for you.
That's
Maybe
That's
I
not
can.
what I mean. I like mine.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
have one
What-
too?
I might be able to make one for us someday.
I get totally sidetracked from what you were asking me.
I mean, I'd have to look at a blueprint, but I mean, granted the amount of electrosteel my father has, I'm sure I could put something together.
Totally.
Big one. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
I just meant to ask. Are these weapons common here? I mean, I've seen you with one, and Alistair had one as well, and that shady guy had one as well. But it's the
Well-
fourth time that I see one similar to mine.
I'm not sure what you mean by a shady fellow, but I know Alistair's was from a different part of the world. For mine, I've read books, and I actually built mine myself with the help of my father. But other than that, I know that the Iron Cog certainly has weaponry, and we artificers can certainly craft them. I haven't really seen anything in person like that, but I mean, there's some pretty wonderful and talented some craftsmanship in this area.
Interesting. I never seen anything like that back at Cornwall. It was just Anya that came with this project.
Oh,
Perhaps she learned from somebody from Schema. But I never heard of. She never told me of anybody from Schema that she had contact with.
or maybe she got it from somebody in Cornwall, and we took it from him.
Aye, perhaps.
When we find her, we can certainly ask her.
Aye.
The other electrosteel clad figure almost like momentarily like puts his hand to his ear, like gestures towards you. Come on.
Oh, everybody, the little one, please be good.
Thank you,
As you
boy.
approach, you can make out his like facial structure. He looks relatively middle aged. He's got short, almost brown, well cropped or like well cut short hair. He's wearing these goggles on his eyes. That seem to be having like a faint light blue glow to them. A little bit of a scruffy beard, nothing too uh, too obvious or like not a big thick beard or anything. Well built, just average looking under the armor. The armor plates themselves, as you approach, you can see that they're well designed, well kept, well maintained, oiled. The large cog in the middle, there's almost like a little bit of a faint glow coming from the arms and the pipes that kind of connect to the gauntlets. As he gestures to you,
Is he human?
he looks human.
So yeah, I guess we'll just follow. As we pass him, I definitely like you'll see big one like leans in a little
You
bit.
don't pass. He
Oh.
he stops you as you come up.
Oh.
He's like, "Follow me." He turns around and starts going up the stairs.
Oh,
Certainly. And as I'm like leaning in and like looking at his goggles and kind of like processing things.
As you walk past the construct takes a couple of steps forward and almost like plants both of its legs, both of its arms, and you can see that where you thought there were fists, the fists almost seem to turn into like a stationary turret of sorts.
Badass.
We're under attack. I hit him with guiding bolt.
Oh.
And Iron Will is dead.
Yeah.
As the elite guard is climbing up, you can see closer the rifle on the back. It's not quite the same design. It's similar in structure, but it's not identical to the one you have. It's similar. It's got a long tube. It's got a firing mechanism.
What color is it? I guess if it's electricity, it's kind of brassy.
Yeah, it's like brassy, almost entirely. But you also do notice an almost like a nozzle attached to the top that is currently unattached, and you don't know what it attaches to. It's like an almost like a valve type thing that's currently unattached. It's a very strange contraption. As with the jetpack that's on his back, which is just a large, almost like a rectangular container with a couple of nozzles at the bottom.
well, Klanko's inventory didn't look quite this impressive.
No, that grifter.
As he begins clanging his way up the stairs, he says, "The Iron Will, we have notice down here of your attendance. Do note that we will be keeping a close eye on you as you enter the building. The city is under lockdown due to an attack that happened earlier this morning.
Oh,
Any suspicious incidents, we will be monitoring and we'll be keeping an eye on you. Not all of you will be allowed upstairs. We will be keeping probably 2 or 3 of you. We will be allowing 2 or 3 of you upstairs to speak with the chief engineer Halfstep. The rest of you will be keeping under close watch downstairs to make sure that no funny business happens upstairs. Is that okay? Are you aligned on that? It's just very business, like matter-of-factly leading you all upstairs.
I wouldn't be able to do funny business even if I wanted to.
He has no good jokes.
What?
See.
As you reach the top of the stairs, you notice the plaza, like at the base of the prime spire that you've been into, is empty. There are several barricades that have been put up on all of the 3 entrances, but these are manned by just the normal Iron Cog guards. And their armor seems even more primitive now compared to what you've seen the elite squadron wear.
it's perfect.
The other, he takes you almost behind one of the exhibits. There's a large statue that's been set up that's depicting kind of the flow of energy through the spire. It's got like these swirls on it. almost hidden in a little alcove. I see what I did.
Oh,
Behind the statue, there is a door almost. In front of the door, there's another iron cog guard, a standing guard, as well as flanking it on the opposite side from the side that you come in. You see a large statue that looks like it could move theoretically. It's made of it looks like a construct, but it also looks kind of like a statue.
Walk
Built
up
of
to it and I say,
electrosteel,
"Shove
standing
it,
on top of
lemon."
this platform. It does not move. As you're standing beside this thing, the elite guard kind of presses a button on the side. Which one of you will be going up? Or which ones of you?
Perhaps I should go simply because I'm a little more acquainted with Miss Halfstep. Would anybody like to accompany me?
I can walk with you.
Sure. Leave it to us, guys.
We need at least 2 of you to stay down here. The rest of you can go.
I
I'm
can
happy
join
to
them.
stay here.
Astra, you and Kelthir seem to have some good jokes and some banter.
Yep. You want me to come with you guys? Stay here? What?
If you want to keep Kelthir company down here, I think Arkmir said he would accompany us upstairs.
Oh, okay. And then yep.
Perfect.
As you guys are talking, the door in front of you opens and you see what looks like an elevator almost.
Before they go though, I'm gonna telepathically say to Arkmir, like, stay in touch, like, keep us posted on what's happening.
And then without knowing that, I look at little one.
Little one, stay here and let me know if any trouble comes up.
I will cast Psychic Whispers here.
Oh shit.
Let me see if I still have it. Yes,
Because
I do.
I can only do it if I see the person.
Yeah, I need to see the person as well to at least
you do.
initiate it, and then it lasts for a period of time.
Okay.
So I will link up with both Kelthir and Astra here. Okay, that's 3 hours.
Plenty of time.
Testing.
Baba Booey.
Baba booey.
So Timon, the big one, and Arkmir, it's a bit of a tight squeeze with the big one inside this
No.
elevator.
Ow.
It's not really designed for Loxodon. It's like the elevator takes like a deep shift down as you step in.
Well, this is quite a cozy elevator.
What? What is this
Elevator.
box?
It moves people from one point to another.
In Cornhall there are stone elevators
Oh, okay.
up and down the levels. They have invented pulleys and levers.
Yeah.
Timon is
You
an
might
elevator
just.
denier.
Yeah.
What about the wheel?
Yeah. You might just be in how it's moving on its own.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
it's been too much alcohol.
We
stuff
don't-
in your
Yeah.
brain.
Normally, you pull yourself in the elevator.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
usually
use
the
this.
chains and like heavy pulleys and weights. They need them to transport the iron and all the raw materials up and down the mountain. So
Aye, but back in Cornhall we have Jeff the Troll to put them.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff sounds like a wonderfully strong man.
Not man, but the troll.
Oh, a troll. My bad.
as the door closes in front of you and the elevator slowly starts making its way up, Kelthir and Astra, you're down in front of the door. The elite guard is kind of standing, blocking your way, essentially out. You're just left to kind of stand here beside the statue, with the iron guard or with the iron cog and the elite guard watching over you. It's a pretty good spot to take a break.
Oh boy. Oh boy. We're either going to get some new info or we're going to just avoid this all entirely.
And
All right.
people who went up, we never see them again.
And that's it. All right. I have a new character ready to go. So,
Yeah, that was a one-way trip.
all right.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys back here in like 5-ish.
We'll be back in like 5 minutes. Oh, hello. We're back. So, Diamond and Arkmir and the big one.
Uh-oh.
As your elevator that you're in slowly rises, takes a solid minute and a half. There's no sign of there's no indicators on the inside. There's no sign of anything changing. Just a slow, steady cling, 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 cling.
What's the elevator music like?
There is no music.
Damn it.
There's nothing. And the elevator itself, as you're kind of looking around with nothing else to do, is fairly Spartan in nature. There's just metal walls, no buttons, no nothing. It's just
No window.
no window, nothing.
Big one, you call this an elevator? Back in Cornwall, we call these lifters.
Oh, cookie in my mouth. I'm eating an apple. One sec, timing.
You eating an apple. Sorry, bad time.
Well, I mean, it's quite the feat of engineering. I mean, you know, I don't know how they work really. I haven't really designed them myself or worked on any, but like I said, it gets you from point A to point B with little ease.
Are you telling me that there's no troll pulling on this?
Now that you mentioned it, I don't know. There might be a troll inside the walls. I don't really know what a troll is, but there might be one.
They're big, large, angry creatures. A bit about your size.
Oh,
But
Oh.
I guess Jeff is not that angry. Jeff is a nice little troll.
oh, there might be a Jeff in our walls.
A brief moment later, the elevator doors in front of you kind of open, and you look out into a hallway that looks not like what any of you expected. The floor that you came up from, down below, the base of the spire was very opulent, very decorative, almost like a museum hall of sorts, with strange exhibits and marble flooring and decor everywhere. This hallway, similar to the elevator, is very Spartan. Fairly long, plain, white plastered walls, plain lighting, almost like a dim yellow lamps that are lit on both sides of the hall. There's doors, two on either side, as well as one behind a long-ish reception desk that stands directly in front of you.
Oh, wow.
Behind the reception desk, you see a well-dressed, gray-skinned man. His skin is almost like a darkish gray, slate of sorts. He's wearing almost like a red velvet vest, black long sleeve shirt, sitting behind this desk. He's got like a handsome chiseled face almost. Half moon glasses resting on his nose, and he's looking at you with almost like a bit of a sneering expression on his face. A bright shock of orange hair that's almost swirled up into kind of like a faux hawk of sorts. Well shaved on the sides. He's looking at you with a bored but sneering expression. And as the doors kind of close behind you, and as the doors are closing, the lights seem to almost flicker a little bit. It's like a little bit of a constant buzzing, like tinnitus type noise in your ears for the three of you as you enter this hallway. On his desk, there's like a small nameplate that says ATT.Livetstar.
AT&T.
ATT.Livetstar.
Key, please.
He's looking at you with his arms just like crossed, but sitting on the desk, sitting fairly comfortably, and he's looking down his nose at you.
Oh. How far away is he?
Probably about like 40 feet. It's not a long hallway. There's two doors on either side of you, and one well past. Also, which one of you has the highest passive perception?
Is that a wisdom thing? Because it's definitely not me.
It's definitely not me.
I have a 10.
It's not the right people.
Yep, 10.
I've got 10.
Let's go.
I'm noticing everything downstairs.
Yeah, you just see Kalthir like looking through the floor, like
Timon, you can hear the noise of some people talking behind the door to your right. It's fairly loud and animated. You can't make out the words, but there's definitely loud conversations happening behind the door to your right.
I suppose I was on the right side of the elevator, so I can also hear it.
Yeah.
Is there any sign on the door or anything like that?
No sign.
No. Okay.
As the three of you approach, the man behind the desk kind of looks up. His eyes seem to have like a little bit of a flicker, almost like a flare
Well,
behind his eyes when he looks up at you. Yes, how may I help you?
sorry to bother you, sir. We were requested by Miss Halfstep to meet here today. Oh, please, we are half the party of the Iron Will.
The Iron Will. I do believe I have some notes here. Yes, Miss Halfstep is currently preoccupied with some meetings, but she told me to help you with any necessities
you
that you may
must be
have.
her assistant.
Attaché to the office of the chief
Hitachi.
engineer. Attaché.
Attaché.
Attaché Test Livetstar. Pleasure to meet you. You are.
Please, sorry, my name is the Big One, and on my right
Big
here is Timon, and on the left here is Arkmir, who is shaking your hand already.
He does not. He does not raise
Oh.
his hand to shake yours if you put out yours.
Oh, you did not
Does not
just
do
do that.
Yes. So, how can I help you?
Well, we've
I was told that you would come here to sign some. I was to provide you with a notice of sorts, a clearance to function under authority of the chief engineer's office. Is that all? And he begins to almost like. You see him kind of reach under a drawer and opens a drawer, pulls out like a stack of parchment. Pulls out like a very nice, like red feathered quill with a bottle of ink. Like picks it up.
What kind of permissions that's going to grant us?
What kind of clearance would you like?
We need clearance to work with iron.
Can certainly put that down, and he almost like just jots on like a side paper.
And carry iron with us
Carry
around the city.
Sure. Clearance to avoid Law 17BA by Law 16. Got it.
You just made that up on the spot, and I'm impressed.
Bylaw 16 was added recently as a way to prohibit transactions of iron. I'm assuming Bylaw 16 is what you would like to bypass or contravene as part of this project that you have received clearance to work on. Anything else?
Anything
He almost like puts his head down and begins to write, and you can see from the top of the paper he just writes, from the office of the chief engineer. And he's like writing this down, and he's still listening to you, but his head is down, and you can just all you can see is just his hair and his like forehead.
Perhaps it would be nice to be able to freely move around the wards with little question for the Iron Will.
Free movement between wards.
And
Do be
she
advised, we have no real control in Ward 8. I'm not sure if this will help or hinder in that, but we can certainly, wherever the Iron Cog and our office holds jurisdiction, we can provide.
Sure. I would also.
Well,
Yes.
She also mentioned that she would cover our costs of operation for this project. So I don't know if that involves a stipend or if that involves setting up a tab in any particular suppliers.
She did. Miss Halfstep did provide a small pouch here
Oh,
that may cover any initial purchases. Meant to be
Initial,
used purely
yes.
as an expense for this project. Any further expense requisition that you desire, you will have to submit some further paperwork and come maybe speak with her or with myself, as I will be. She mentioned something about your handler. That is what my role here will be, apparently. As much as I don't.
I
Big
also
grudge.
request 1 dozen apples, if possible. I am quite a large person who gets fairly hungry on these tasks, and I work best when I have a full stomach.
How much did you say?
Is there a limit? Could I have 2 dozen apples?
2 dozen apples. Got it. I don't think we have any in our stocks right now, but if you present this requisition to any of the fruit vendors within Ward 1, I'm certain that they will be paid for their costs.
Timon,
dozen
maybe you should
apples.
ask for some potatoes as well.
Is this relevant to the project that Miss Halfstep is working with you all on?
See,
Most
what
definitely.
you need to understand is I work best on a full stomach, and Timon is trying to prepare an ale for him to work under his best circumstances.
I'm so glad you guys
Potatoes
sent.
and barley.
I'm so glad you sent us.
You would like some
The green tea.
potatoes?
And barley?
1 sack of potatoes.
Do you happen to have any ammunition or any swords or perhaps daggers or maybe some hammers or maybe what
Weapons
else?
are not necessarily the jurisdiction of the chief engineer's office. For that,
Oh.
you'd need to consult with the cogmaster or the high keeper of the elite guard of the Iron Cog.
That makes sense. While we're on this topic of providing materials and things, is there any materials that we can, if we have a
We
bind?
need iron.
That's what I was trying to get at.
We need iron.
Is there a store or a supply yard where we can get a little signature to help us acquire some of the materials we might need?
I'm sure there are blacksmiths in Ward 3 that have stocks of iron. Purchasing iron might be outlawed by Law 16 of Law 17 BA, but fortunately, with this clearance, you might be able to requisition some of that.
Oh.
Is there any iron that the cog has confiscated or that we can get access to?
I can certainly ask the cog if they have any in their stockpiled warehouse.
You see, we will
For
need
that,
a
we
large.
would probably have to wait a little while for me to see if I can secure this and get it shipped to. Where can I get these materials shipped to? If anything, you all need. Outside of the fruit and vegetables, those wouldn't be in our supplies. You would have to go and acquire those yourself.
That's fine. Give me one moment, and I'm gonna turn to Arkmir. Arkmir, do you think we should
Just
send it
continuing to
to
write.
my father's house or somewhere else?
I think your father's place would be a safe place for this to go.
Let me rack my brain for my house address. 1 second.
27 Rusket Lane.
That's the one. Yeah.
Ruskin.
So
Please send it to my father, Spark Eyes. You might have heard of him.
21 Rusket Lane.
We actually live, and I have a shop at 21 Rusket Lane. You can certainly just drop it off and address it to the big one.
Big one.
Arkmir, is there anything else that you can think of that we should include in this?
We have the freedom to enlist the help of someone else, like let's say another blacksmith, should we need them to handle this iron. Can we have the ability to grant them a pass for our need?
So you would like to requisition, or you would like us to grant permission for you to subcontract this project out to.
If need be, I don't want to toot my own whistle, but I'm a pretty skilled artificer, and my good friend Timon here certainly knows how to handle building material. But just in case, I think is
We
what
would
We
be
need their,
hesitant.
should we need their resources? Is really the question.
We would be hesitant to provide blanket permission, but I'm sure. I would be hesitant to provide that permission in writing, but I'm sure you can contract a blacksmith out without needing express written permission. Um, based
If we
on
do,
based on
if
the
we
current
do
conditions of
subcontract.
of Ward 3, it might be.
So I'm also, I guess while this conversation is going on, I'm going to be relaying the updates of this contract that we are getting drafted to Calthier and Astra.
Anything
Just-
you say. The strange tinnitus noise that you heard almost as soon as you entered this hallway, you
Gets
cannot
blocked. Gets
communicate
blocked.
outside of it via magic means.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Nice.
they got a silence room.
Arkman has been awfully quiet. It must be going all right up there.
I
Amazing if you
imagine
just
so.
heard some static noise.
That's basically what you hear in your head almost as you try to
Yeah.
like reach out and speak. It's hard to even concentrate on that.
Kryptonite.
Mr. Livetstar, are there any forges or facilities where I can
would you
manipulate either?
would you
iron?
be able to provide a forge for my workshop? It's something I've been missing for a long time.
Hmm.
It's instrumental for the execution of this project.
I don't think we are legally allowed to have forges in Ward 1,
Damn it.
but I can definitely see. We have received reports of an abandoned forge over in Ward 3, one where the blacksmith seems to have either
Oh.
moved or left or
Mm.
stopped
man.
operating recently. Let me see if I can find the address of that.
I feel like we've
He,
been
like,
there.
digs through some of his paperwork.
Wonder if this is one of the ones we encountered earlier.
Yeah, I have a feeling this was in our session. I think
Yeah.
this may be
Yes,
Phasnord?
it says here
Yeah.
that shop that used to be known as the
Golden Anvil.
seems to
Rip.
have recently shut down. Their
Oh no, that's the guy who wasn't doing so
facilities-
well.
their facilities might be open and available for requisition.
Oh. Okay.
I will add here. How do I phrase legalized use
Of the golden
and
Anvil.
squat rights?
We're here to repossess your home.
The golden anvil.
Not only are you out of business, we own your shop now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can certainly, only for the duration of this project, of course, we can certainly provide that as a facility,
For sure.
a forge, and an attached smithy for you to work out of.
The last
Who was
thing.
the
Oh,
who was
go
the
ahead.
owner of this place?
Okay,
El
golden
Truck.
anvil.
Deltroch?
Deldrock?
Deldrock. Deldrock
Yeah.
Mountainsmith. It says here he recently came into some hard times, was not able to.
Poor guy.
His business was not really able to survive. He seems to have shuttered his shop and possibly left the city.
I hear the big one and Arkmir both say his name, and I look. Do you know him?
We've encountered him on our travels. Actually, the day we first met, but we can certainly tell you that story another time. You seem like quite a good man.
All right.
One last request from my behalf. Perhaps Timon and Arkmir have others, but similar to the food, maybe arguably more important, although I doubt it. Just in case there's troubles or, weird creatures or things that might injure or hurt us in any way, would you be able to provide any medical supplies or, a discount at a general store for, just general potions, things like that? Just in case. I mean, obviously, we're going to try and avoid everything, and obviously with this pass of subject BC 1048, we can definitely get by without any trouble. That's definitely not the law you said, but I didn't write it down and I forgot.
17BA bylaw 16.
Yes, thank
He
you.
continues to scribble. Yes. As it seems, you'll be heading to Ward 3 to check out these facilities at the Golden Anvil.
Sure.
I believe there is a shop in Ward 3. Just on the corner. It's called the Smokestack.
Cool.
Oh, kind of shop.
They might be able to provide you with any sort of supplies and general
Perfect.
general goods. I believe they have a attached herb garden, almost like a mushroom.
Do you know if they
growery
have any tea?
there. Probably.
Oh,
I believe that it's not very far from Blacksmith Row and Gearfist Terminal.
okay.
If you are in that, if you're going to that area. Also, this material, any material that we find related to this iron, is there anything else that you would like in terms of material for your project?
Timon starts listing. Well, I'm gonna need flux, and I'm gonna need a good hammer, and I'm gonna need like an excellent anvil, and I'm going to need pincers, and I'm going to need the best quality coal, and I'm going to need. He starts going on about all the elements that he's going to need.
And and I have a lot of the tools that I need for the like putting together part, but I think I don't remember right now. I can message you this later just for not going on. But the parts that you mentioned that are on top of the iron that I might need for putting pieces.
There are two things that your father said in the blacksmith when he saw the blueprint that you would definitely need. There is a sort of a remote trigger mechanism,
right?
And
the spider leg things,
that
right?
goes with it, and the spider legs that are used generally out in the Rift and Ring to set up the fence around the city.
Sure. So I would relay that.
Those type of legs.
Yeah.
He writes those down. So remote activation mechanism. And you said you would like me to deliver these to 21 Rusket Lane, or would you like me to send these directly to the Golden Anvil?
Oh, it might actually be beneficial to deliver them to our temporary workstation, our temporary office.
That reminded me of The Office with Dwight. Sorry.
Us?
It's a temporary workspace, temporary office.
That can be arranged. It might take maybe a day or two for all these materials to arrive, which will give you enough time to establish the shop, make sure everything's good and ready for this project. I'm sure Miss Halfstep looks forward to your success in this project, though I must say I do not have much of a mind for this myself, so I will be relying on you to provide me with frequent status updates.
Certainly.
Would be the best way to provide updates.
Send a courier or a messenger to run up here. I'm sure that's probably the easiest way to reach the office.
Certainly, I believe Kalthir has some paper that we can send some letters or something, or.
Have you got a trusted courier that we could send?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't entrust these updates to anybody.
Right.
Or just anybody.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot or make it harder, but perhaps we could relay the message to my father, and my father could speak to Miss Harriet, since she knows her quite well.
There's in Ward 3, there's a group of couriers known as the Gravel Stride Company.
Gravel Stride.
Oh.
They're more focused around getting messages between the different sort of mining facilities and companies and blacksmiths in Ward 3, but I'm sure one of them for a little bit of an elevated price. You can, of course, just tell them to bill it to the office when they get here. They'll be probably a good resource to send a message to different parts of the city. There are several courier companies, and they all, relatively speaking, pride themselves on the privacy of the messages that are being delivered.
Excellent. So it sounds like this kind of deal is also what we're gonna get with the smokestack right? We could just build the office. Excellent. I don't let them finish the sentence. Just very pleased.
I don't think that. Sure, you can certainly try that. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
There is
perfect.
a limited budget that Miss Halfstep has told me to maintain for this project, and
Yeah, as he's saying that, I'm gonna look through the little pouch that he gave us, money.
he hasn't given you a pouch yet.
I'm just looking at my fingers then.
He's still writing down all of the requests on that paper,
Okay.
and he's almost reached the bottom of it. Running out of room on this one. Is there anything more that you desire? I can prepare a second page, or
Let me think for just a moment. I require a black cloak. I will not do this project without one.
one black cloak.
You're so snooty all of a sudden.
He's got to taste the power.
He's writing this. The door behind you, all to your right, almost like slams open, and a figure like steps out from it, almost like in a bit of a huff. They're wearing these long purple robes, got like a goatee of sorts, like long, almost like shoulder length hair. Got a monocle on one eye. They're just annoyed and frustrated, and they just walk out, and without closing the door behind them, just walk into the door on the opposite side and slam it shut.
Oh,
How many?
Just one.
Just one.
Did I recognize that person at all?
Make a history check.
Oh no.
Does Livet Star acknowledge the person at all? Or
Nope.
16.
You do not recognize the person.
Okay.
oh,
Simon takes a peek inside the room.
You're
that they
you're
left.
past the door at this point. You're like near the desk. The door was like almost halfway between where you are and the door.
Yeah, 20
but
feet away.
You make out some arguing and yelling that's happening inside. Just in the brief moment that the door is open before somebody comes and slams it shut. You hear, "We're vulnerable. This is an outrage. They're attacking us in our ward now. We have to do something. We must take action." You hear a female voice that's saying, "We must remain calm." And you recognize the voice as
Harriet. Yeah.
oh.
We can't take any serious action considering what we know. Ward 4 is not going to allow us to simply shut them out from the rain. And a third voice, louder and more gruff, says, "Then it's just going to be like Ward 8. They're going to continue this unrest, these attacks. It has to have come from them. They must have sent someone into the ward to cause this." And the door closes behind you as this arguing noise seems to be coming from.
Oh.
At this point, Tess finishes writing the notes. Is that everything? All of you satisfied with each of those requests? And he begins to write at the bottom.
I think that's a pretty good start. It was more than I mean, that is perfect.
He writes down Thessalonicus.
Just as you change that tone, like you get like a elbow on the gut.
Oh, actually, it's perfect.
He does like a very fancy loopy signature at the bottom.
oh,
It says below it, attaché to the office of the chief engineer. He pulls out like a small wax seal, like begins to melt it on this almost like light that's on his desk. It's like a lamp. It's not hot like a candle, but as he touches the surface of it, it begins to melt the wax a little bit.
Cool.
Puts it out. He takes off a ring that's on his third finger. Puts a seal on the bottom left corner of the sort of like notice. Folds it up into like a small like slip of paper. Puts it in an envelope and sticks it out. And he reaches down and pulls out a small pouch, roughly about this big, not major at all. Puts it in the other hand, holds it out to you.
I'll take them.
oh. Well, thank you so much. This will be quite helpful for our project.
That's, as I said, we expect frequent status updates, and best of luck on this endeavor.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Turn around and make your way back to the elevator. Let's cut back to downstairs, where Astra and Kaltir.
Before we step into the elevator, Timon is going to turn back. Is it a Mr. or Mrs. Attaché?
What?
Just is it a he or a she?
It looks like a he.
Okay. Mr. Attaché, question. Is there a troll anywhere pulling this lifter?
Don't think so. He pulls off his half moon glasses and begins to clean them on a little handkerchief that he's pulled out of his pocket.
See, big one? So strange.
Well, I mean, perhaps we just don't know about it.
And then we cram into the elevator.
You all make your way into the elevator. Let's cut back down to Kaltir and Astra.
Why is your armor in so much better condition than the iron cogs?
It sees less use. The man turns towards you and
That seems like an honest answer. Although yours seems to incorporate a lot more electro steel than theirs.
we're part of the. I'm a member of the elite guard of the Iron Cog. We're only called upon for high priority, high urgency, highly dangerous missions.
Are we considered
there
highly
was-
dangerous?
I think at this moment, anything in this ward is considered highly dangerous. There was an attack earlier today at an old salvage yard that's near the border between Ward 4 and Ward 2, or Ward 1. We suspect that it's due to the unrest happening in Ward 4.
Is that why?
We've closed off all the gates into the ward. We're patrolling to see if we can track down the culprit.
So that's why the streets, or many of the streets, are so empty right now.
Yes, we've put out a notice asking people to stay indoors as much as possible. Stay off the streets due to potentially dangerous criminals out and about.
Does stuff happen like this frequently? Or when was the last time something of
There
this
hasn't been
manner happened?
anything similar in my lifetime. Ward 1 is the safest ward in the city. Something like
how
this
old are
Oh,
happening
you?
here is
you can't just ask that.
I just did.
Rude.
about 30, 31 years old.
Sorry, I just was trying to get a time range.
And you're strange.
Thanks.
Accurate.
You're not from around here. How old are you? When did you come to the city?
I came to the city a week ago, maybe? I think that sounds about right.
Interesting.
No, I'm not from here.
Where are you from? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm not really from anywhere.
You know the type of people that say that usually have something to hide, right?
I'm not hiding anything.
The only thing he's hiding is probably a great sense of humor. Kalthir, go on. Tell him a joke.
Don't really know any jokes.
And you, young miss, where are you
Hmm?
from?
North.
North.
Whereabouts north?
Pretty north.
Are you from Rioviz? Are you a member of the Alabaster Guard that were called in?
Mm, I didn't understand about 90% of what you just said. But I'm from the tower. Up north. In north.
You just see him kind of off in deep thought.
The North Tower.
Mhm. Big astronomy tower, middle of nowhere.
Can't say I know.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Hmm.
Do you know any jokes?
Strange. can't say that I do.
Okay, well, this has been fun.
He just stares at you, like not moving from his post.
I would have just gone over and looked at that statue. Does it kind of remind me of the gargoyle statue thing that Big One had at his like gate? Not
Similar,
maybe not in looks, but just like kind of same idea. Like it's kind of a statue, but then it like does things.
similar in some ways. Yes, it is. It looks like a statue. It's not moving. It's not doing anything right now. But as you approach, you can definitely see like where its eyes are, and it looks fairly unique in a structure. It looks almost like a larger version of Clanko in some ways, like in the similar like structure,
Interesting.
similar body shape, almost just a little bit larger and bulkier, almost more muscular in of sorts. Not like any of the large like golems or constructs that you've seen aside from that. But it's more humanoid looking. It's almost like in a kneeling pose, not dissimilar from the Tinker, essentially.
I would turn around to
But
the guard then and just kind of gesture and say, what does this statue, what is it meant to represent?
innovation and security, protection, in many ways.
And what is it inspired by or modeled after?
There's a certain type of constructs that there are few of in the city, or more so, honestly, only a few people that I know of, at least. Very advanced constructs and creations, almost humanoid of nature.
Hmm.
It's modeled after that. I believe the actual creator of this design and the statue itself was someone anonymous. Nobody really knows who created it. But retrofitting it into a sort of security um, eye, almost a guardian to this elevator. That was uh, someone, I believe it was a Primarch from about a decade or two ago who did this. Who retrofitted the statue? I believe it was Primarch Daramet.
Can I touch it?
It's, he kind of looks at you, like tilts his head a little bit. You go up and touch it, and it's just a metal statue.
Look it.
Have you? Do you often touch the exhibits at museums that you go to, Miss
Astra Maris.
Astromaris?
I think this is the first exhibit in a museum I've ever been to. I didn't know that kind of a small museum. It's nice. I like it. I like the statue. That part's cool.
Perhaps there should be a sign that says "Do not touch."
Touch,
I
touch,
believe
touch,
it's
touch.
implied, but certainly. The statue is more meant as a way for us to activate a sort of guardian of sorts if we need to, as a last line of defense on the elevator.
How do you activate it?
I'm certain there's some sort of activation switch that my
Activate.
superiors have access to.
Does anything happen?
Nothing happens.
Just comes alive and punches you in the face.
A few more minutes pass, and he turns to look at you, Kalthir. He still seems a little bit intrigued by you. Is that weapon on your back?
Yes.
That's a strange construction. I've never seen anything quite like it. Is it staff of sorts? A lance? A glaive?
Yes, it's more of a glaive, though I tend to kind of use it as a staff.
Interesting.
It may just be somewhat unique in design because I made it myself and
Yeah, that
didn't
would
really
explain
model it after anything else that you might find around.
that. That would explain that. Yeah. During our training, we spar with all sorts of different weapons. never seen anything quite like that, but I've trained with quite a few staffs and glaives back in my day.
You don't appear to have any similar type of weapon on you, though. Um, is that training purely just for um, learning about potential opponents' weapons, or
He almost like swipes his arm, and an arm blade comes out from it.
Dick.
It's about like a foot long, roughly, and he holds it up. We're always armed.
That's so fucking cool.
Quite impressive?
I want it.
Can
He, retracts, presses another button on his fist and retracts it.
I could probably just make my arm do that.
Did you forge that yourself?
No, I certainly did not. This gear is provided to us by the artificers in exchange for keeping them safe, essentially.
The artificers are quite talented.
The Iron Cog, our main responsibility is keeping Ward 1 safe. The Order and the rest of the city holds, while it is important, while I wouldn't say it's the lives of the people outside of this ward are less important by any means. The leadership of the city is highly cloistered in this specific location. We are charged to keep them safe.
Interesting.
As he finishes saying that, Astra, you're still tapping away and trying different ways to activate the statue. The elevator opens, and your friends squeeze out. I
How
assume
did
your
you go?
business is done?
Business has been conducted.
Very well. Which way would you like to leave?
Perhaps we should go get a bite to eat before, and we can tell you what we just discussed.
Yeah, because Arkmir literally told me nothing the whole time. Kalthir and I were waiting to
Oh.
hear anything but just silence.
I
was like, hello? I was gonna say that mentally here.
That works. And if you would have tried it in the elevator on the way down, it would have worked as well. As you say that, the guard kind of looks around. Do you have means of communication?
Me?
We have
He
these
looks at
cards.
Astra.
Oh yeah, we have the show him the cards, Tymond. We got it from Klankos. They send messages.
That was your gift.
Giving you a little bit of a side eye. Very well. Which exit would you like to take? Northwest, northeast, the one you came from, northeast.
I mean, there was. Oh,
Before we go,
yes.
have you heard of any trouble in Ward 4? Should we avoid it?
Yes, the notice that was put out earlier today was that there was an attack on the border in Ward 1, on the border between Ward 1 and Ward 4. I would recommend staying away from both the site of the attack and Ward 4 as tensions might be high. Potentially, if the criminals who perpetrated the attack went back across to Ward 4, they might be hiding out there. We might very shortly be sending some guards into Ward 4 ourselves to try and track down the perpetrator. I would recommend staying out of Ward 4 for the time being.
Have you got any suspicions, or is there anybody that you're looking for?
Tensions have been high between Ward 4 and the rest of the city for a while now. We don't really have any suspects as of yet, but our best investigators are on the case. I'm sure they'll track someone now.
All right, good to know. Thanks.
We did happen to pass by a tavern, near Klankos. We could exit the same way and just get all caught up to speed there.
Tymon just lights up.
The Drinker Tavern.
Yeah. Not really sure where else to go right now.
Ever been?
Oh,
And I asked the
well-
guard.
He just shakes his head. Not really. We mostly stay in our barracks.
Is the ale good there?
I can't complain.
You don't
You
sound
enjoy
too
what you do.
excited.
Yeah, sorry.
That was just a finishing comment. You don't sound too excited. And then
Make an insight check. Both of you.
He's
Oh
never
yeah.
been there, but can't come play.
Blink twice if you're being held against your will.
insight
Insight 21.
21.
Oh, look at you.
You gather that he's proud of what he's achieved, but he's more focused on his duty as opposed to genuinely happy. Like, he hasn't been smiling at all throughout this entire day. You have not seen him smile at all.
All right. And then yeah,
Thanks
we'll,
for the
he-
museum tour.
He turns around and begins to lead his way, lead you all back out the same stairs that you came into the spire. But clang, 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 clang. His like metal boots clang on the stairs as he walks down.
What are before we leave? What are the hours that the tower is open? That the representatives are in here.
Sunrise to sunset, mostly.
All right.
As he leads you down, you notice up in front the construct kind of almost like turns around its torso. Just while its legs are still planted, its torso turns around to look at you all and then turns back around. The other guard who had previously come up with the message that you all had arrived has now rejoined the guards at the staircase. Waiting there. You take the stairs down and exit. The guard that has been escorting you so far reclaims his station at the stairway.
Before we part ways, I would have just gone to him and said, "Thanks for the conversation that we had. Let's hope you don't need to use that interesting weapon of yours anytime soon." And I apologize, but I didn't get your name earlier.
Officer Shiro.
ooh,
Nice
cool
to
name.
meet you. My name's Calthea.
Oh, there. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Hopefully, during a time of less alertness, potentially, we can go out and have a drink.
Oh my.
Got each other's age, names.
Get digits.
Same height.
Mm.
Both had two sharp, long swords.
As you exit and leave the spire and begin to make your way back up the main street that exits from the ward, you notice there's still a few guards that are walking about. There's Iron Cog. They're not really paying that much attention to you, per se. They're more just trying to maintain the peace and making sure that anybody suspicious is kind of dealt with. You make your way back through the streets. You go past Lanko's shop, and you notice the shop is now not lit up at all. It's just like plain old.
Before we get to the tavern,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go over to Big One. I feel really bad that I didn't get you a present.
Oh,
You got us all such thoughtful gifts.
it's more than okay.
But here's the thing. You asked me to do a very important job a while back, and I've been taking a really long time because I've been trying to come up with the perfect name for
Oh.
little one.
Oh.
And I've been thinking about it for so long. I've consulted my books. I think I have the perfect name, but I'm worried that you're not going to like it.
Please fire away.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So you mentioned I asked you to kind of describe the little one. You said he's a dog. You made him. He's metal. He likes apples. He makes a good cup of tea. He's a friend. He was alive yesterday. I think some of those were yourself naming some of your own qualities, maybe. But the things that had to do with little one. Okay. So, the fuck is the page?
That's his name? What the
No.
fuck is... It's a pleasure to meet you. What the fuck is a page?
So the name that I came up with him that kind of takes some of the important aspects of him is Sir Archibald M.O. the Ninth, Professor of Pomology, Protector of Ward 1, or the Professor for short.
Oh, wow. Do I call him that now, or do I address him by the little one and then see how he likes the name? It's more a choice for him as well. I think it's great.
Well, maybe you should call him by the full name. Go ahead.
I don't know it.
I feel like I should explain it a little bit. So Sir Archibald, that's just because it's a funny name and he's a dog and I like that he's fancy.
Sir Archibald? M-O, like the two letters?
M-O, it stands for Magnus Opus,
Okay.
which means masterpiece, because you mentioned he's your creation.
He is
so
perfect.
Magnus Opus, yes. The ninth, however, before 9, there is a silent K because he is a dog.
Oh.
Professor of Pomology. Pomology, that is the study of fruit. You mentioned he loves apples. And Protector of Ward 1. And the short form being the Professor.
And Protector of Ward 1?
Yes.
Oh, right. Boy, the little one, I'm going to give you a new name. And we'll see, I believe you'll like it. Sir Archibald M.O., the Ninth Professor of Pomology and Protector of Ward 1, also known as the Professor.
Oh. Acknowledgement.
So I'm not sure if I gave him the capability of showing emotions, but I believe that acknowledgement means he likes it. And I think it's wonderful.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
So, Professor.
Oof.
Oh, I think he loves it.
Actually, it's the Professor. Because.
And I just give her a big hug.
It's perfect. The Professor and the big one.
Exactly.
The Professor's just walking along behind you.
Oh boy. Well done, Astra.
As you all make your way through the streets, you arrive at eventually the Drinker. It's a small. It looks almost like a dive bar of sorts. But even for a small dive bar from the outside, it's fairly well maintained. It's just small in size, maybe not in stature. And as you enter, it's strange. It almost seems a little bit bigger on the inside than it does on the outside. And it's a lot. It's maybe it's just because it's like long and narrow. There's a lot more tables in here that you'd think you could fit. Not a lot of people in here. Probably like there's half a dozen tables, and then there's like stairs that go upstairs to another balcony landing. It's dimly lit with a similar, almost like yellowish, buzzy light, halogen lights essentially. There's like a small bar just off in the back behind all of the tables. You don't see the two people who came in before. You do not see the two people who had come in before. The bar seems empty. Nobody else here except for the bartender, as well as like a couple of there's a woman behind the bar and a man who's just like waiting tables. It's just kind of sitting idly at one, and as you walk in, he kind of looks up and gestures to one of the table and grabs one of the like menus off of the counter.
Oh,
walks
thank you.
over, drops it on the table.
Ale, please.
Any particular brand that you're looking for? Any particular?
Ooh, they have options.
Oh, have you got options? Tell me.
Do you brew any yourself here?
Not here per se, but there are some from Ward 3.
I'm no longer interested.
One of our most popular is the Ash Tank SPA. It's a Schema Pale Ale.
I would like a picture of that, please.
Picture of the Ash Tank SPA.
I will grab a pint, please.
All right, 1 pint of the Ash Tank SPA. And he's just taking a note.
Do you have any water?
We can definitely do some water.
Preferably not the one from Ward 8. They're in need.
That makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Have you got water from Ward 8?
No.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure.
We also do have some Saccad lager. That's our second brand that we have on tap here.
A card lager?
Saccad. It's SAKAD.
He'll also take a picture of that.
He's
It's
just
a
gonna have
little.
a
It's a
flight
little
of
on a.
pictures.
It's a little on the lighter side.
Oh, it's water. That's their water.
As well as one of our Schema's more popular brews from Ward 3. It's the aged mushroom lager.
I'll take one of those, please.
It's from
Sounds-
the
Mushroom Lounge.
Oh.
not quite. It's a new collaboration between the Brickstone Brewpub and the Mushroom Lounge. The specially branded brew that the Brickstone Brewpub has released recently with in partnership. It's been pretty popular.
Sounds like a lovely dessert beer. I'd like another pint of that. And to
Right.
open things up, a pint of the Saccad lager
Do you do
as
flights?
well, please.
Flights of just pints?
You've become a
pint.
lightweight, Simon.
A pint of the Saccad lager, a pint of the aged mushroom
Wait,
beer,
wait.
and a pitcher of the Ash Tank Spa.
That's correct.
Right? And a pint of the Ash Tank Spa for you, and he just is writing down these options at this point. Anything for you, Mr. He looks at Calter.
Water would be great.
Water.
Do you sell mac and cheese here?
Yes. Would you like our food menu?
Oh god,
Oh,
damn! This is new favorite bar.
I'll just have mac and cheese.
He points to the food menu that he's like put down, and there's a few assorted dishes. There are some pasta and cheese dishes. There's definitely some like meat, poultry. There's definitely chicken.
Chicken?
Yeah, there's some sandwiches. It's like a bar. You can basically find pretty much
This
anything
is our bar, though.
there.
This is our McLaren's.
I would like 2 chickens, please.
2 orders of chicken.
Live?
Preferably cooked, but either or.
He basically just goes and
It gets a bunch.
takes all of your food orders. He'll give you the bill afterwards.
Sounds good.
And then walks away with the order, and the bartender kind of looks at the paper that he brings. He's like, looks at you all, just like looks back down the
Feeds a
paper,
fucking ward.
looks at you all.
Yeah.
He just gets to work pouring out like pitchers and pitchers and
So, while we have a little bit of time here, perhaps we can. I'll go over the note that we've acquired, as well as perhaps this would be a good time for you folks to check out the little gifts I got you, because I'm not entirely sure what they do, to be honest with you.
And then I'll spend some time going through the list of everything we just acquired, talking about the abandoned forge, the golden anvil. I'll let them know about the Gravelstrad company, the smokestack shop that we can go to, all the little things that we've asked for, etc. And then I want to count the little coin purse that he gave me.
There's about 25 platinum in the purse. It's fairly.
Now, I know normally we like to divvy up our funds, but we did get a small little surplus of money, a stipend of money to use for this project. I can certainly divvy it up between the 5 of us if we think that's important, or I can just keep it for any supplies we might come across when we make it toward 3.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, I think you should hold on to it.
Just keep it, lad.
Okay. I promise you, I don't really have too much of a need for coin on my own. As you can tell, I bought you all gifts. I promise I won't use any. Unless we need to use it, obviously.
So they're
Speaking of
giving.
gifts,
Oh,
actually.
good.
Oh, speaking of gifts, our friend Alistair had one actually for us here, and I'll pull out the what's it called? The Farsight Scope.
Yeah.
And place them on the table.
Have I seen one of these
Um,
before? Sorry to interrupt. Okay.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
not.
I
It looks like a small cylinder of, again, bluish black metal. Similar in crafting material to the metal that you've now been fairly familiar with. There's two lenses, one on up either end. The lenses are like almost like a faceted crystal of sorts.
I forget. Did we get told that?
It's like a little bit thicker from the edges.
You did.
Thinner
You
from
did.
the middle.
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I mean, none of us could make use of it, but we felt like it would make sense for either you or Timon here. So, please.
I'll just gesture.
Okay.
They told us to if you hold up a cane, you can put it on the top there like this.
Oh, Timon, I think this would be perfect for your weapon.
If you hold it up to your eye, it looks kind of like a telescope. Like it makes things look bigger from one end and smaller from the other end. But there are like small notches at the bottom that seem like it could be attached to a weapon.
Oh. Oh.
What does it do?
Well, if I look through here, I see things are really up close. I mean, big one, you have to take care of some of that ear hair because it's a lot, you know. But this looks pretty incredible. Let me look at the bar, and I look at the bar.
It looks closer. It's like you have a telescope in your hands.
It's like the bartender or whatever
Just
they're
busy
doing.
pouring. She's just busy pouring.
Okay, cool. What do I do with this? I don't have a cane.
Well, actually, I think I might be able to attach that to your weapon.
To thunder?
I believe so.
Oh. Grab Thunder and I put her gently on the table.
Then, if we're staying here for a little bit, I probably have some scraps I can pull out and I'll grab some.
Like a tinker tool.
Yeah, tinker tools, a couple pieces of electrosteel.
Yep.
Fasten it onto the top while we take our little lunch break.
Diamond is really happy seeing that.
Astra is playing with the amulet.
Okay, does he succeed installing the?
Yeah, it's just
in the rifle?
as a short rest, you can attach it.
I rolled a 19
Nice.
anyway, just in case.
It's not.
That
It does not require a test, but you attach this firearm mod Farsight Scope, and you
Cool.
can add that to your inventory in D&D Beyond. It should be available.
Farsight Scope. All right. I guess I have to customize it. I don't know. I will ask you later.
It's also gonna pull out the the pouch of bullets I have. I'm just pulling out. Big one. Do these look special in any way to you? And
If you pull out the
hand them over.
bullets, they look almost identical to the ones that Timon purchased earlier in the day.
Fuck.
They're small, like blackish blue metal casing with like white marble tips.
Oh, I actually believe that we just may have acquired some of these earlier in the day. Timon, can I please see one of those bullets?
They look familiar, yeah.
And I'm gonna pull down my goggles and I'm just gonna.
Pretty identical.
Oh, seems like we acquired some more.
Where did you find these?
Well, these were a friend from our. Say they're a friend from our. Oh, sorry, a friend. A gift from our friend, Galerin. So, feel free to hold on to them.
How many are there?
It's 25.
Ooh. All right. Aye, I'll take them. That sneaky bastard's got some of these coming his way.
Perhaps one day, Timon, I might actually be able to help you with magic type bullets. I've been working on something for a while. I've been testing it on myself, and it seems to be going okay, but with Thunder, I definitely want to make sure it's working effectively before I try it on that. But for now, please keep those bullets. They'll help you more than they'll help me.
All right.
I would have pulled out the ink and like revealer. Would I be able to get a gauge of like approximately how much ink that is in terms of like I write all the time?
Yep.
So
Since
I
it seems
probably
like you're doing a short rest, you are able to identify that this is an ink of concealment. You can look that up in D&D Beyond.
I apparently
It's an
am
ink of
also
concealment / revealing liquid. So there's 2 different vials, and the information should be on there.
I'm also
I've been wearing
apparently. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm rocking that cloak for a while, but at this point in time, I'll spend a moment to identify it.
It's Clanko's chimeric cape.
I'll look this stuff up after.
It's probably in D&D Beyond then.
Thank you.
I'm also going to spend a hit die because apparently I'm missing 2, and if we're taking a short rest, I might as well get it back.
Same here.
Okay.
And for Astra, the amulet you're looking for is the Clanko's Clockwork Charm.
Ooh.
I hope these gifts are sufficient. I mean, I wanted to be able to help us on this journey, and Clanko was an interesting man and didn't have quite the items I was looking for, but I think these might suffice.
So, I guess you spoke with Harriet Halfstep on all this.
We actually spoke with her Entente, or her attaché, her Apache, Livetstar. He was very, very helpful, and he actually drafted this document for us, and I'll pass it to Calther. And it just goes over.
If you look at this document, it says from the office of the chief engineer, the Iron Will are authorized to bypass Law 17 BA by Law 16 and maintain purchase and transactions regarding the outlawed material iron. They're allowed free movement between wars, as well as any a small stipend that will cover costs of their operation.
2 bushels of apples.
Additionally, the following items are they are permitted to requisition the following items from vendors within Ward 1: 2 dozen apples, 1 sack of potatoes, barley, flux,
I could just
hammer,
imagine.
anvil, pincers, coal, remote activation device, a black cloak.
Yes, a black cloak.
I could just imagine, like, you guys not in the room and picture us, like, going in there for a formal work document, and the first item listed as additional supplies is 2 bushels of apples.
It also goes on to say they're also allowed legalized use and squat rights on the Golden Anvil in Ward 3 by order of the...
and I also asked for the confiscated iron. Don't forget that.
He didn't write that down in paper. He was
Okay.
not going to write that down in paper. He was going to follow up on that and see if he could get it delivered.
Yeah.
But he was not going to put that in writing.
Okay.
And then it's signed below Thessalonicus Levitstar with a loopy signature and a seal beside it.
Oh yeah, and while I look at that, I would have pulled out my pen and paper and written out big one in like big kid block letters, and then my last letter I would do like a to try and make it more fancy, practicing my signature in the corner.
Well, this is certainly interesting. It appears perhaps you all got something you were looking for. The potatoes are kind of odd.
Well,
Speaking of potatoes, as soon as we get, well, no, I don't wait for the beers. I have something for you, Kaltir.
Oh,
And then I pull from my backpack, I rummage to it, and I get one of the bottles of potato ale.
Oh God.
wasn't even aware you could make ale from potatoes.
Well, this is not the best batch that I have ever produced, but I made this myself.
Huh?
Would you like to
Well,
try?
absolutely.
Excellent.
Wow, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I give it a try.
Yeah,
Make-
I'm watching intently.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh god, just fed him like rotten fucking beer.
3 points of exhaustion.
Sport
Dirty
bros.
Wow. It doesn't taste good, but you're able to keep it down. You just swallow it. And it's
Well.
strong. It still tastes very much like raw potato.
Well, that is certainly something.
But it
Um,
also has fermented. Like there is alcohol content in there.
Ah, well,
Not my best work, but
Well-
I'll share it with you. And I take a big swig.
Make a Constitution save.
Yes. Yeah, I'm fine.
It seems to have gotten a little better from the aging.
22.
It's better now than it was this morning. Perhaps
Tastes
maybe
better
high-
than this morning. I guess
I
I
can-
just needed some more time. Gloop.
I can certainly say I've never had anything like it. But I respect that you put in the effort and did this. Being able to make your own food and drink or whatever is a great skill to have. So I appreciate this. Thank you very much.
It's at this point that the waiter comes back with a large pitcher and about 4 pints of different beers, as well as 2 glasses of water. He puts them down.
Which one is the Sakat Lager again?
The lightest one is the Sakat Lager.
Refreshing indeed. Pretty light. I feel a couple of tones of blueberry, is it?
Sure, let's go with that. I have to admit I'm not the expert. The bartender would know more about the different varieties that he's managed to acquire and tap for this month.
And then Timon
I can ask him.
gives two hits on his chest, and he's just like a mighty belch.
Very well. I'll be back shortly with your food. Carry on. And he just,
Picture like Hoku's on my shoulder and his ears just go like back in the wind to belch.
So I suppose with this requisition and being able to perhaps use this golden anvil, I guess we're looking to move forward with the proposal on the blueprints. I don't understand them quite well myself, but it sounds like big one. And Timon, you both have an understanding of potentially how it could work and how to build it. So, is that potentially the next step of where you're looking to go?
I believe so. I mean, Mr. Livisar said that it's going to take a couple days to get all the materials, but I figured we can get to Ward 3, check out the anvil, make sure that it has what we need, and potentially get started. I've looked it over with the blueprint with my father. I think I understand, for the most part, how it works. It might take some trial and error on certain aspects of it, but I believe Timon's also up to the task of making the certain parts that we need.
I mean, I definitely don't understand how it works, but I can work the metal. All I need is a forge and some good tools.
I think if we can get it built and find Nibnor or someone else who might know how to handle it, so at least the step 1.
But what are we going to do with respect to Linda? She gave us a blueprint. I mean, it was not the complete project, but your father told us told us not to give it to her.
I mean, I believe Lenda's main goal was to provide power back to the ward. I think whatever means can accomplish that should suffice for her goal. So I think if whatever this device is, if we're able to actually construct it and leverage it to help Ward 8, I think perhaps that should be all right with her, though.
But Spark Eye was worried of other motives.
That's true. Never implied that we would give her the device to use.
I think with the new information we got from Harriet, it's probably best that we keep Lenda a little bit in the dark for now. She probably isn't aware of the situation that we were told yesterday, and it's probably best we don't get more people involved or in the knowing before we've even had a chance to create the device. Perhaps somewhere down the road we can speak with her, or if we've had a chance to try it and see if it works.
I do wonder if we're going to embark on constructing this device in an effort to help Ward 8, if it would be a kind gesture to inform those of Freedom Hold that we are doing this. From their perspective, we came in, they asked us to help, and we left. Maybe if they knew that we were doing something, it would incite hope. They would understand that something may be coming their way. It's just a thought.
Possibly. I think for now, my main focus is just starting to build it.
I just remember Cassandra being angry at us.
We can't do much to change those who have opinions of when they make a hasty assumption. So I think perhaps she was just a little on edge given the circumstances and the situation that Ward 8 finds itself in. So I wouldn't think too much of that.
I mean, as long as they don't riddle us with bolts again,
Let's hope they don't.
because those two fuckers were also on edge. Oh, I just wish I had a chance to had a little one-on-one with at least one of them in that ring. It would have been fun.
Maybe next time we're there.
Perhaps. And then I start drinking from the pitcher.
Once we get to Ward 3, I know what I'll be busy working on. Is there any tasks or any things that Astra, Arkmir, anybody else have that they need to do, or should
I'm
we?
still looking for my friend.
Perhaps we can set that in motion as well. I mean, it's going to take a couple days to get the materials, and then it's certainly going to take at least multiple days to finish the project, I'm sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's true. As you say, your friend, Hoku all of a sudden snaps his head to the right, looking straight at the wall that your table is beside. And all of you hear a loud knocking noise on the wall,
Bruno?
like in a pattern.
Can I knock back? Like, can you tell me? I run over to the wall.
It's. I will message you.
Okay.
It's like the when we were coming into the building really quickly, what is the exterior of the building made up? Like, is it like brick and stone, or is it like wood?
The exterior of the building is mostly stone, but there is like wooden frames and like wooden
Okay.
parts of it. The noise seems to sound like it's wood knocking.
Okay.
There's also an alleyway to the side that you
Sure.
know of because you came into this.
I run over and I knock back in also like a pattern.
You all just look as Asher just starts knocking on the wall.
Any response?
Aster, what are you doing?
Shh.
What are we listening for?
Perhaps.
I look around.
There's more knocking that comes from the outside, this time in a different pattern.
Does it sound like violent knocking, or is it
No,
just
it's
like a little like?
Like a bunch of different knocks at different cadence, different levels, different. It's just sounds like somebody's like tap dancing on the other side of the wall and just
Is
like
there any kind
tapping
of
and
like
knocking into it.
Oh, we hear
rhythmic?
this?
Yeah.
You all hear this.
I knock again, and then I run around to try to see the other side of the wall.
You just see Astra just get up and run out the door.
Last, wait, where are you going?
I'm gone.
There's some knocking that continues for a moment as she runs away. She
Perhaps,
doesn't hear this.
perhaps
Was there any
we,
kind of? Oh yeah, go ahead.
perhaps we shouldn't let her go alone.
Really quickly, this is not like a
Mhm.
response to that. I was just wondering, like, was there any kind of like rhythmic pattern to it that I can understand, or like that I've heard before or anything, or does it just kind of
It's
seem like
not
random
anything that you
knocks?
have heard before. It seems random.
Okay.
There was a lot of knocking and a lot of different like taps and a lot of noises. It's not something that you can make out. Astra, as you exit and you look around in the alleyway, empty. Nobody's there.
What? I kind of like run up and down. Nothing.
You run up and down, flailing your arms around, thinking it might be someone invisible. Nothing.
I run back inside, knock on the wall again.
I would have been like part way to the door as you come running back in. You're like, oh, you're back.
I push him out of the way and run to the wall.
There's no response.
I keep going out though to look around the corner.
You go out and you look around the corner. There's nobody in the alleyway.
I cast see invisibility on myself.
You take out your you hold up your holy symbol, cast see invisibility. You look around. Doesn't seem to be anybody or anything there.
Take a moment, just like looking around. Wait, actually, if I go to the general area, can I hear the knocking outside?
No, you can't.
So I'm just gonna wait for a minute or so, and then head back inside.
Inside Astra, what are you doing?
I think I spooked him. I shouldn't have run around to see him.
What are you talking about?
Spook 2.
The my friend from the tower.
The one you're looking for?
Yeah.
Hoku kind of just like lowers his head and just like nuzzles up against you.
Let me give him a little pet. I know. We'll find him, buddy.
As I come back in,
Mhm.
I see invisibility. I'm not picking anything up.
Interesting question. Let me just see what the invisibility actually does.
For the duration, you see invisible creatures and objects as if they were visible, and you can see into the ethereal plane. Ethereal creatures and objects appear ghostly and translucent.
You see traces of ethereal matter. almost like wisps of like strands of something, like some grayish like ethereal matter that just seems to be floating attached to the wall. It's almost like anchors, like small tendrils of like wispy gray strands that are sticking out from the wall that don't seem to be on like the wall next to your table that don't seem to be anywhere else around you.
Okay. Then I'm gonna walk over, and the rest of you would see that like there is kind of like this dull purpley glow to my eyes. And I'm gonna walk over to kind of where the wall is and just kind of like place my hand along it where I kind of see this. Does it feel any different? Like, is it like cold, or um, does it feel
It's a
any
little
different?
bit colder than you'd expect.
Astra is still there, like just desperately knocking and like up against the wall.
No, no more responses.
Astra, who is this friend of yours?
I've never actually seen him, but I just kind of named him the boy on the other side of the wall.
So you've never seen him. Have you spoken to him?
Yes.
More than just knocking. You've actually heard his voice.
Well, no. He can't talk, so while we were in the tower, we came up with our own language. And that was knocking.
How long have you known this person?
Oh, seems like, I mean, time is weird in the tower. It's hard to say. Feels like almost forever, but time is a bit wibbly wobbly, timey wimey in the tower.
More of a ball. Um,
How did you know that you would find him here in Schema?
I didn't. I had no idea where he went. I just left the tower, went kind of followed my compass that's broken or some, I don't know what's going on with it, but anyways, it led me here.
what made you believe that your friend was missing? You've never actually seen them. There was just a period of time that they didn't reach out.
He stopped knocking.
Has anybody else ever communicated with this friend of yours?
Like who? I don't know. I mean, it was just me and Hoku in the tower, and then
Hoku kind of looks up at you and just does like,
yeah, like we both did, right, buddy?
Hmm. Interesting. It's strange. I'm able to see a little wisps of the ethereal plane here, uh, which is very odd.
What's
What did this friend of yours tell you when you spoke?
I mean, we talked about everything. I don't know, like we played games, we did things to pass the time. He was just another companion.
Hmm, interesting. Did he
Loop,
ever?
loop, loop, loop. He finishes the picture.
Is this the first time you've heard from him outside of the tower?
Since I left, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. There's that whole thing that happened a little while ago where my compass went all weird, and then you remember I like fell to the ground. You guys were like, "Oh, Astra, oh no," and then like I had visions, and I don't know if it was him trying to communicate with me or something else. No idea. It was super strange.
Hmm.
But I feel like I'm getting closer. Maybe I just have to speak friend and enter. When I said I'm looking for my friend, that's when I heard him. So maybe we're onto something here.
Well, I don't want to bombard you with questions. I know you miss your friend. One last thing that I am curious about, though. You mentioned you've never seen them before. You've named them boy on the other side of the wall. But at the tower, you mentioned you've never actually seen them or communicated beyond knocking. When you heard the knock, why did you run outside to look if you could see him?
Well, it's not that I couldn't see him. It's just that I wasn't physically able to leave my room in the tower to go and find where he was. I was just in the tower in my space. I couldn't leave.
Couldn't leave, or you didn't want to leave?
I mean, tomato.
Okay. I don't mean to pester. I'll chop it for now. It's just if you ever see me asking lots of questions, it's out of interest.
And she just goes and plunks down at the chair and drinks her gross mushroom beer.
As you drink the beer, beer's actually surprisingly good. It's a little bit on the sweeter side.
Oh.
It's not bad. It's pretty
Gross.
popular. But as you like kind of put your head down, the amulet on your neck, you can't help but hear like the constant ticking noise that's coming from it. It's just like tick, 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 tick.
Pretty much for the duration that we're here, when I'm sitting at the table, I'm mostly just kind of staring at that spot on the wall. And my see invisibility lasts an hour, so as long as I can see stuff, I'll be watching.
Only for like a brief moment that it seems to last, and it seems like it's fading away almost. Like it's at the tail end of whatever effect was there, and it does seem to disappear and goes back to normal.
Okay.
Over the course of the next like 10 or so minutes.
I start writing stuff down.
When you were asking about things that we need to do, I guess Astra needs to find her friend. I mean, I need to find Anya, you know that, but we hit a bit of a dead end. I thought I was going to find so much more information from Spark Eye or Half Step. All I got was more questions. And a place, I guess. At some point I would like to go to Silthia. They seem to have more knowledge about the storms there, so after we're done with this, constructing this device, if you guys finish your missions here, or if you find whatever interests you have, would you accompany me there? It's a lonely journey. I was very fortunate to find friends like you, especially Kaltir Astra, who helped me survive the journey from Cornwall. I don't think I can make it to Siltia alone.
Well, I don't actually think you've hit a dead end. I think we've hit a temporary roadblock. A big part of the reason why we're building this device is to try and get a handle on these storms to possibly get more information, which could then in turn help us understand where Anya might be. To answer your second question, I think if the time comes where you need to go, depending on what needs to be done here, or I've never actually left the city myself, and I've actually done a lot more this week than I have in my entire life in terms of adventures. I'd certainly have to make sure my father was okay for a little bit, but I think you could count me in. But I think there's some questions that could be answered here before we go down that path.
When you say you can count me in, Simon starts to like almost like his eyes are starting to water, and he's just
A lot of teary eyes.
Well, I'm making everybody cry. God damn it!
Yeah.
Gonna nudge him. Don't be such a wuss, Timon.
Hey, got him back.
I
There's like
think
this Legolas Gimli thing going on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
guess I deserve that. I guess I deserve that.
Hoku and I are there for you, buddy.
Oh, Astra, Lass,
I
thank you.
think we try and get some answers and, put our efforts into this device. And you never know, there might be some answers right around the corner. But I don't think we would be the full power of the Iron Will if it didn't include all of us.
Arkmir, Kaltir.
I would have your back. That said, for Cynthia, forgot. I don't remember if it was Spark Eye or someone here who suggested that if there was someone we want to get in touch with there, we could try getting in touch with them remote, having to make a trip out there.
I don't know if that happened for you guys, but on my end, you froze right as you said remote for like a split second. You're like, we could try remote.
We can't speak to the reliability of remote communication meetings. But
There it is.
That timing
My
could not have been. I'm
setup
sorry,
has
but
been so terrible today.
nah, that just timing could not have been more perfect.
Perfect. It was
Yeah.
Did you get the rest of whatever I said?
Yeah. You only froze for like a
Yeah.
second. It was just that timing was perfect. Sorry.
I think you stuttered there a little bit, Arkmir, but I understood. I'm not sure if remote communications would be as effective to investigate something, but if it's an option,
Could be a starting place, or at least point us in the right direction instead of going aimlessly.
aye.
I mean, to just add to what everyone else is saying, you know that I try to help wherever I can. Um, in terms of my mission, if you even want to call it that, I look to learn as much as I can about the world around me. So wherever I find interest, that's where I go. And right now, this time with you all has been more interesting than anything in quite a long time. So you can definitely count me in. The other thing that I
Lass,
wanted to
I
mention.
think he's saying that he likes us.
Oh, Kalthir, and I put my
Mm.
arm around him. You'll
Ah.
so and so.
Oh, thank you. But I do want to also remind you, because as I don't believe we've gotten there, I do think in Ward 3 there is another Ironbeard.
No, that was something that I was just going to say. I need to go see this Torgen. Might be a long relative of mine, but yes, very
So there
much
is
so.
still,
you do still need to repair your hammer.
yes,
Yes,
there are
and I have
definitely.
to repair my hammer.
That is true. You did break it. So there's definitely still threads to pull on.
Aye. So what about you guys?
Well, I think for myself, it's just helping my father, helping Ward 1. I owe a great debt to this town, this city, especially my father, and he's trusted me with helping build this city back and get it out of whatever new issues have arisen suddenly. And I try and do my best to help Schema thrive. And right now there's a couple conflicts that before I leave it, I would like to at least try to settle. And it sounds like Ashra needs to find her friend. Kalthir is just helping wherever he can. You need to find Anya. Arkmir, what about you? Seems like a lot of our paths are leading us towards Ward 3. Is there anything that we can help you with?
You know what motivates me.
Oh,
Oh.
and I'll flick him. I'll attempt to flick him a coin, but I accidentally grabbed Electrosteel ball and fling it at you.
I'll make them roll for it, DM.
It's fine.
All right, all right.
You spend the next like short while drinking and deciding the next step of your journey. That's probably a good spot to end today's session.
Oh boy.
Figure out where you head to next.
Definitely have some leads.
We should probably
Happy
go
short
to Ward
rests.
4.
Before we finish, can I just ask something else to the group? What about Fadel? I mean, you guys seem to have some dealings with him in the past, and from what we saw this morning, I think he got abducted. There were, like, big one, weren't there tracks or something leading away from the shed?
There were certainly tracks, but I mean, when Arkmir and I we were told to look into him and make sure he was safe, and we did so, and he wasn't at his shipment yard when we last left him. I'm not sure if was inclined to return, or he did, or I'm not sure. I mean, it definitely looked like there was trouble there, but in terms of where he is, if he did get abducted, or if I don't have any communication with him, and I don't know where he could be.
As soon as you asked that question and mentioned Fado, I will just have looked at Arkmir and kind of, without saying anything, just kind of looking to you as to how you want to lead the rest of this conversation.
I want to keep this between us, the group, and please keep your voices down. And I'm gonna pull out the list. I had a list that I've actually written down.
Okay, you have a duplicate list. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So came across this list a while ago. It seems like this is what our acquaintance, the one who almost killed me, wanted. It's a list of names where there's a couple crossed out, and Fado's is one of the ones that is not crossed out. I believe someone may have been after him. Now, big one, I'm not sure if this is the same people that were after him earlier when we made sure Fado was safe. But it could be that they're also after these others as well.
Also on the list are two conspicuous names that you both recognize of Arkmir Croft, and
I didn't write those ones on that.
You
We
didn't?
cut that off and
You
he
kept,
didn't.
Yeah.
you cut those
indicate
off? Okay.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Alright.
It was just player talk. It was Arkmir and the big one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple of names though that are also on there that I'll speak to. Is that there are also the Miralar individuals whose name was on that building that we went to when we were looking for Nibna. So it's quite interesting that.
Was it crossed? The name was crossed or not crossed?
I don't believe that one was crossed. Maybe?
Hold on.
You have the picture.
We do have a picture. I also just have it.
Oh, right.
No. The Miralar name, Ezekiel Miralar, is not crossed off.
And a common thing between both of them is Galerin and his. Saying this because I think you guys had explained to us, right? The fire contraption that he used against us there, and it sounds like you guys came across that at Fado's house.
Who's Galerin?
He is the individual who made you forget what happened at the warehouse.
Big one's having a stroke.
See, like,
Just blood.
in the nose.
yeah,
Just processing.
I guess he doesn't have a nose because he has a trunk, but
Yeah,
maybe like just
corners the
falls
eyes.
off of the corner of the eye.
So here's what I think we should do next. And then that was my
Yeah.
campaigning back to the
Yeah.
that you had
Yep.
called it.
All right.
I'm good
Oh.
to keep going. I have no time restrictions. If there's something that you want to discuss, we can continue. If not, we can call it
It'll
here
probably
and
just
pick up
lead
next
down
week.
rabbit holes of continuous talk for another 2 hours. So
Conspiracy
I mean,
theories.
that sounds like an afternoon at the bar.
Cool.
Okay. Well, we'll pick up there next time after some conversation and discussion and decisions have been made as to what comes next for the group. Until then, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time in the outro.
bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Peace.